Hey geeks, do you love comics, collectibles, and TCG? Well, here at Cardboard Cave, we have the place for you. Pass by Kapitan Granuja Comics and Games and find all your favorite geeky items there. Look for them at Facebook or Instagram or call them at 787-659-7003. A store blessed by Nicole Bolas.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Cardboard Cave. John obviously is not here today, so I will be your primary host for the evening. But today is going to be a very, very fun stream because we're going to be discussing the Modern Horizons 2 spoilers, and there's a bunch. And we're not going to do what we did for Strixhaven, which was discuss every single one of them, because that took 1,000 years. Even though it was fun, it took 1,000 years. So for this stream, what we're going to do is each of us has 10-ish to like 14, 15 cards that we wanted to highlight. And if there's repeats, we'll just go over very briefly over the card because obviously there's going to be some repeats. We're just going to be discussing the cards that we found interesting from all the spoilers that have been released up till now. As you guys know, there's still next week. There's going to be more spoilers and more broken stuff that'll probably be released by Wizards of the Coast. This set, it seems insane. It's going to be expensive. It's already kind of expensive. If you look at Amazon, it's like it's super expensive to buy. So I'm just going to see how I get the singles that I want. But the problem is there's way too many singles that I want. So I don't know. It's chaotic. It's fun. But let's go ahead and introduce JP.
Hey. Yeah, this set is bonkers. Like, there's just so many. Like, I when you said it was the first week, I was like, oh, like just looking through the spoilers, I was like, okay, they're just throwing the entire set out in the first week. Wow. No. And then you said, oh no, this is just the first week. Whoa, man. This is a big set.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
It's a big set and it's really good because I have so many cards. Like even if we just cover like our tops. There's I would like to just skim over everything just in case I missed something.
Sure.
Because it's just so many cards.
It's insane. I'm gonna put Chris on the stream. I do not know if he's there. He's not. But you know how he be. When he ever shows up, you'll know he's there. So let's go start. I already set up the page. Oh, he has technical difficulties. Thank you for letting us know. I'm still just going to leave him there. If he shows up, he shows up. I'm going to set up right now Scryfall. So this was supposed to work. Oh, there we go. Boom. So it's already set up with the first card. I'm going to do my list first. We're going to go in order. I'm going to do my list, and I'm going to do JP's list, and then I'm going to do Bob's list. So for my list, the first card that I found very curious, very interesting was the Khan Shadow Slayer. He is Esper colors. He's white, blue, and a black for legendary planeswalker. So it's cool that they made this legendary creature that, it's been very famous throughout Magic's history. They finally made him into a planeswalker, and it's going to be like a thing that happens in this set specifically, where it's a lot of traditionally very famous, very iconic Magic cards.
And characters
either are turned into planeswalkers or they're finally given the legend treatment because they were, in a novel or they were just addressed in like a flavor text. Which is fascinating. It's great. It's fun. It's like harkening back to like a Dominaria set where nostalgia is brimming in this set, obviously with the old border stuff and all that. But there's a lot of elements included here, which makes the set very fun to talk about. Okay, so he has a static ability that says there's no static ability. It's like the ability, the enter the battlefield trigger. The Shadow Slayer,
it is a static ability, yeah.
It's a static ability, but it's an enter, yeah. When he enters the battlefield, he enters the battlefield with a number of loyalty counters on him equal to the number of lands you control. So his loyalty is 0, but if you have 20 lands, he will enter with 20 loyalty. So that's simple. His +1 is a Surveil 2. If you remember, Surveil mechanic is basically a sort of better Scry, I would argue.
Arguably, yeah.
Yeah, because you look at the top 2 cards, and you put them back on top in any order, so it is Scry. And then you can also dump whichever cards you want to the graveyard as well. So it's Scry, but even better. So the -3 is exile target creature, which is great removal on. Hey,
Hey,
There you go.
am I unmuted here? Yeah, there you
Um,
go.
So the -3, for you exile target creature, which is great for a 3-drop. At worst, you can play it on 3, exile a creature. It's pretty good sorcery speed removal because you exile a target. And finally, the -6, the part that I find very fascinating. You may put target artifact from your hand or graveyard into the battlefield. So, Christopher, I know you are akin to liking these artifact-based cards. So, what do you think?
I mean, the possibility of just getting a relatively free artifact to me is just great. It's fantastic. I'm not a huge fan of like the whole the fact that his loyalty is based on the amount of lands you control. Like it's great when you're getting into like mid or late game, I guess.
Yeah.
But I feel like even at his converted mana cost of like 3 early game, it just doesn't seem to do much other than like the removal, which is still really good. But
Okay.
It's
Just not a fan of
flavorful
it.
though. Like
Oh no, yeah, no,
like
no, that's
Dakon
Mhm.
Blackblade, the original, his power and toughness was equal to to the
yeah.
amount of lands you control. So like
Yeah.
I like that. I like that little reminiscence
I mean, it's
to
good
the
because it
olden time.
scales with the game. So
Yes,
if you
Mhm.
get it early, it's cool because it's removal. If you get it later, it's good because you'll probably ulti.
and even then, early game, it's that Surveil 2 is always going to be very,
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
very sought
especially in
after.
Esper colors, definitely.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
JP?
like a little. I'm pretty sure we went through our lists and I didn't see anyone mention the card. It's the other half, the other planeswalker
I mean,
in lore. They're like they hate each other.
which one?
It has a really weird name. I can't. I really had struggled pronouncing it for the first few times.
Wow,
Gaia,
you can pronounce
Gaia
the one
drone.
like the underworld chef just fine. Come on.
Yes, no, but this is Gaia drone Dihada.
Okay.
Okay.
No, just she's another planeswalker in the set, and lore wise, they hate each other.
Okay.
I like that. And another of the legendaries that we don't have in our lists also is also part of that story. It
Okay.
was just very nice that they just
No, it's
included everything
great.
there.
No. They definitely did their homework in terms of lore, and it's very noticeable with a lot of the legend cards that are very included in this set, and even some of the sorceries and instants too. They harken back to legends, like the set legends, like Urza's
Yes.
Saga. A bunch of old sets. For me, it's cool. I don't usually play Esper colors when it's regarding artifacts. I usually go is it or I go just strictly blue because all you need is blue. But
Lies.
if I would have an Esper artifact deck, which is arguably the best colors to have that in, it'd be a great fit, and it scales perfectly in Commander. I don't know how good it would be in Modern. I don't think it would be very effective, except for the fact that you can surveil, you can exile. I don't think this is gonna create like an Esper artifact based deck because I feel it's a bit too slow, even with the great ability of scaling and such. But it's a very good
The
card. Mhm.
Going back to that little thing you mentioned about modern and this deck, this not making a deck. The deck that would run this would still probably not run this.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
There's a, like the Esper deck with Tezzeret
Mhm.
and the sword of the meek and
Yeah.
the foundry start making basically a
Yeah.
billion tokens.
Yeah.
The Tezzeret that they run in that deck is
Mhm.
the blue black one, and they run it not only because it makes he could either make a 5/5, draw you cards,
Mhm.
but his ultimate he enters with 5 loyalty,
Yeah.
and you just +1 him, and then the next turn you just -6 him,
Mhm.
and his -6 is like you just basically kill whoever you're fighting against in
Yeah.
an artifact based deck, and that one just simply doesn't do anything that would
Mhm.
merit an inclusion.
Yeah.
Esper Charm is already good. It's like good removal card draw. It's the
Yeah.
same amount of it's like the same amount of mana. It's an instant.
Mhm.
Simply, just
More
I don't see this
versatile.
being.
Yeah, it's just for the ulti. It's cool in Commander because you can just get like a beefy artifact out. You can get like a Platinum Angel. You can get like the one that has Infect. You can get like a hasty artifact boy.
The infect one shuffles back into the deck.
Mm.
Right. Oh yeah, but if you have it in your hand, that's what I mean.
Oh yeah, he does
Yeah,
say
because
hand.
it's hand or
Oh
graveyard.
yeah, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's good. You can like get like a beefy effect and just punch someone in the face. So for commander, it's good because you don't need to play it on turn 3. You can wait till you have like 1,000 mana and then just play it and then just get a beefy boy out and then smack someone in the face. So it's really good. Going on, the next one on my list is Grist, the Hunger Tide, which I like mostly because of its static more than anything. But I know, yeah,
Before you continue, could you put the is there the alternate art there?
I guess this
Yeah.
one. Okay.
That's the whole reason why I wanted to talk about it as well. Might as well
Okay.
just.
Cool.
It looks like a Phyrexian.
It does.
I'm not sure if it is, but that's the only reason I wanted to talk about it. It just looks like a Phyrexian.
Okay. Well, I just want to talk because of the static ability. I feel like the static ability is really cool because it breeds new creativity in terms of things that you can do with it. So Grizzly Hunger Tide is a colorless, a black and a green for legendary planeswalker. It breeds as long as Grizzly the Hunger Tide is it on the battlefield. It is a 1/1 insect creature in addition to its other types. So the +1 is create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token, then mill a card. If it's an insect card milled this way, put a loyalty counter on Grix and repeat the process. By the way, it starts with 3 loyalty. The -2 is you may sack a creature. When you do, destroy target creature or planeswalker, which is great removal on 3. The -5, each opponent loses life equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. So the static ability is the thing that's fascinating to me because it breeds a lot of creativity in terms of deck building. Because
the question is, how does it even die though?
Oh, it dies because you smack it in the face. I don't know.
No. What I'm saying is like
normal
it's
planeswalker.
as long as Grist isn't on the battlefield.
Isn't on the
1/1
battlefield.
creature token.
Isn't on the battlefield.
Is that like from your deck or anything, or can that just work from like the graveyard or something?
Yes. It works on the graveyard, on your hand, and on your deck. Yes.
So you can tutor him up with.
Yes. So that was exactly what I was going to explain.
When it's like your commander, because I think that I saw a post in which they were going to do like a rules change to allow Grist to be your commander or something like that.
Yes, sir. I was going to talk about all these things you guys are mentioning.
I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I got ahead of myself.
So the utility and the cool thing about this is this can be your commander. This enables reanimation strategies because, like JP said, you can literally just dump it within 2.
And in modern
as well, you
unearth
with the unearth. Exactly, you can revive it with the unearth, and it'll come back. It's fascinating. Or like a Patriarch's Bidding, you can go nuts with this, which is fascinating because we've never had a planeswalker that being treated like a creature breeds new possibilities in terms of the things that you could do. Obviously, being on Golgari colors, it has even more utility because you can stick it like a Marin deck or a deck that relies a lot on milling. The cool thing about it is the ulti, because each opponent losing life equal to the number of creatures you control in the graveyard, implies that if you're like on the super late game on a commander deck that has like Marin or has like a very reliant reanimation strategy, this can close out the game very quickly. Yes. Yeah, you can just dump it, put like having a doubling season on the side, so you can just ulti immediately. You can automatically just win the game. JP, what else do you want to add?
And other than the art, it's just very interesting the aspect for modern, specifically how on Earth in Modern Horizons when it came out, there was this whole Pyromancer deck. It was just the Mardu Pyromancer. When you had your Faithless Lulins before it was banned, rest in peace. Faithless Looting on Earth, you had the Young Pyromancer and Seasoned Pyromancer. Mm-hmm. You have the ball lightning type thing that just the 6/1 that also dealt 3 damage. Mm-hmm. It was very good deck until they banned Faithless Looting, but this could give out another option for type deck those decks like that. Mm-hmm. And I just like graveyard strategies.
Oh yeah, this is auto include on any graveyard strategy for now and forever. Being able to pluck a planeswalker as if it was a creature, that's ridiculous. By the way, we have a comment. Jose Angel Pagan Lopez says it looks like a sliver.
I'd say Phyrexian slivers, like the newer slivers because of the little the hooks.
Yeah.
Like the newer slivers, I could see that. Yeah. But it just kind of looks Phyrexian. When you put Elish Norn next to this and they mesh. I don't know the lore about this guy, but
me neither.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find out.
Christopher, what do you think? Anything you want to add?
I guess that I'm still like, my mind is still struggling with how it would work if they kill the insect creature. Do you like get it back at some point? Because
You
it's like
can't.
while
It's
she
not an
isn't on the
insect.
It's
It's
not
battlefield.
an insect when it's on the
Um,
battlefield.
So you can't
No,
kill
what I'm
the
saying, when
insect.
it's not on the battlefield, so it's just an unkillable insect then, or like
When it's not on the battlefield, it's not on the battlefield, Christopher.
It can't be killed. You
Because
can
it's not
exile
there.
it. You can that's another a little problem. Like something like a scavenging moves can exile grist and get a counter.
Yeah, because it's technically a creature. Yeah.
Hmm.
If it's not on the battlefield, it is a creature. But if it's on the battlefield, it is not a creature.
yeah, it's
So
just
you
a
can't
planeswalker.
path to exile it because it's not a creature. You can't do anything to it when it's on the graveyard into your hand because it's already there. I mean, you can exile it if you have like an exile effect that targets creatures, like JP said. Then since it's treated like a creature, you can just remove it because it's a creature on the graveyard. In the hand, I guess if you have, you remember the
Despise.
despise, yeah, the one that it's not. No, is it despise?
Despise is one of them. So despise is you pluck out a creature.
Yeah, exactly that one. Literally that one, the Dominaria one. Yeah, the one where you pluck a creature. Since that is technically a creature, you pluck it from their hand because it's a creature on their hand. And if it's in the deck, you can tutor it because it's a creature. If there's a tutor thing where you get to mill or you get to look for, you can Green Sun Zenith this card. You see the properties of this?
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you can collected company this card. It's a creature.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is not me. I'm not being original. This was Saffron Olive mentioning all these ideas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But like, that's why I love the idea because it's very it has a lot of
Interesting.
properties. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Jose said, very important when it's on the stack. It is a planeswalker. Good to know.
Wait. Are you sure?
When it's on the stack, it is a planeswalker. I guess when you're
when
casting
you're casting it,
Yeah, when you're
But it's
casting
not
it.
on the battlefield.
Yeah, it isn't on the battlefield yet. Are you sure,
So-
Jose? Well, let us know. Let us know if you find
no,
it
but
could be-
I
it could be
assume that
both.
it counts as a planeswalker for like purposes of like it's a planeswalker spell that you're casting. Like let's say like you're trying to like counter it. If something says like counter a planeswalker spell or something, I guess
Because you're casting a non-creature spell.
or non-creature.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
See, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
both.
Yeah, because the
It's
spell that
both.
you're casting is a non-creature
Yeah,
spell.
it's still a non-creature spell. It's not like you're casting a
Yeah.
creature. Yeah. Okay, my third card. Let's go a little quicker. My third card is subtlety. It's not so subtle, but it is a 2 colorless, 2 blue for a creature elemental ring incarnation. It has flash and flying for a 3/3 that reads: when subtlety, again not very subtle, enters the battlefield, choose up to 1 target creature spell or planeswalker spell. Its owner puts it on top or bottom of their library. Evoke. You can exile a blue card from your hand instead of paying its normal cost.
That's the
So,
part that I like.
This card is amazing. It's basically Force of Will blended with. There is a card that does this for any spell. I forgot the name. It's a 2-cost unsubstantiated, but it's strictly worse than unsubstantiate because it only stops creatures and planeswalkers. Funny enough,
is spell or permanent,
Exactly.
or non-permanent.
Exactly. Which obviously, if this was literally unsubstantiate, it would basically be better than Force of Will. It would literally be that broken. I did say it jokingly in the ISD chat, and they were like, "Bro, are you insane? It will literally be better. It would be like so expensive. It would be like a staple in for now forever. In everything. Yeah, because it would be you could basically uncounter. It's basically uncounterable removal, which would be infinitely better than a Force of Will, which you can stop it or you can have cards that can't be countered.
Stop uncounterable things. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So this thing is amazing. I love it. I'm getting a freaking copy for my Urza deck. It's amazing, even though it doesn't take out non-creature spells. That's why I have my Force of Will, my Force of Negation. So I have both. That's great. You basically have a combo with basically these 2 cards now. For any control deck in Modern, it'll basically be able to utilize these 2.
Force of Negation and Subtlety. Oh, you cast a threat, I Subtlety. Then you try to counter it, I Force of Negation. Then you have no cards in hand.
Exactly. True. That you're very right in that regard because you're just dumping a bunch of cards from your hand to counter all these things. Seth did mention interesting factoid.
Ephemerate?
Ephemerate will work as well with this card because it doesn't target a permanent. It has to be a spell that's being cast.
Yeah, but it's an evoke creature, so evoke and ephemerate kind of go together.
Yeah,
really
gotta go
easily.
together. There's better examples. I'm pretty sure one of you.
The grief.
Grief obviously is the best example for the utility of having that
Ephemerate,
card,
yeah.
Ephemerate. But it's still really great. It goes hand in hand with Force of Negation. It'll be used in a lot of control decks. Is utility in modern, I think, will be seen because so what Seb mentioned is that he always felt that Force Ignition was a great card, but the problem is that in modern, most of the combos that you go off with generally tend to be creature based, not non-creature based. For what he said, I rely on him because he plays way more modern than I do. So if he's saying that this is great because it will actually stop combo pieces now, where Force of Negation was great, but you can just counter something, but then it'll just go off with the creature anyways, then you didn't do much. But apparently this will be able to stop very resilient creature-based combos. So, Christopher, what do you think?
I don't know. The first thing that I could do was automatically compare it to Force of Will when I saw the spoiler.
Yeah.
And I didn't really catch the part that it was just supposed to be for a creature spell or a planeswalker spell, because I just read it. I'm like, yeah, this is amazing. This is stupid. This is gonna go in every blue deck I make. Like, I recently made a Baral deck, and even though this card doesn't directly counter, it's just way too useful.
Yeah.
Especially in a game of Commander.
There's always that one threat that can't be countered, especially creatures. There's a lot of green creatures that can't be countered that will be annoying when they hit the battlefield. This stops it. So
the thing that I like about subtlety as well is that it just lets you be so petty. Because let's say you see Alejandro, you're going off and you're casting Urza turn 1, and I'm just like, no.
No, screw
it
you.
Just lets you be so petty, and it's perfect. Yeah. It's beautiful.
My Urza deck has an unsubstantiate because of how useful it is to have cards that stop uncounterable things. There was a tournament in Granuja where it was a 1v1 commander tournament, and I remember, I think it was Jitsa. He summoned, remember that green dinosaur way back 3 years ago that was uncounterable? That was
Carnage
basically
Tyrant?
That one, Carnage Tyrant. He had one in the deck, and he played it. And he was laughing at me because I've been countering his shit all throughout the game. He played it, and he's like, there's no counters now, right? And I'm like, there's some substantiate. He's like, what the hell is this card?
Yeah.
God damn it. And then he had to put it on the top of his deck, and I'm like, great, I'm going to keep beating you down. Great.
Nice.
JP, what do you think? Anything you want to add, or are you good?
No, not really. I'm
Okay,
not.
cool.
I'm not all the huge fan. I really like Grief. Grief is the black one.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, but you probably have it in your list, so that's why
it's not. It's not on my.
It's not on your list.
No, because it's only since we mostly play Commander.
Yeah.
Then
it's not,
Grief is only target opponent. But the good thing about Grief is when it's a thought seize.
Oh yeah.
It's a thought seize, and with ephemerate, which what people were saying, okay, you did in turn 1, exile a black card, play Grief, pay 1 white mana, ephemerate, Grief enters permanently, so you have a turn 1 Grief, and also you discard it. You made them discard 2 cards,
and then next turn it has rebound, so you get an extra card.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's super excellent. And in Commander, I think Grief will be cool because it's a good reanimation target. It's not the best reanimation in the world, but if you have
it doesn't say each opponent though. It could have.
Of course, but I feel like they want to try to deviate if they can from saying each opponent literally on every card, because they don't want to make it that obvious that everything is for Commander, even though everything is always for Commander. So my other card, I know I picked up a lot of non-blue cards, but I just found a lot of cards interesting in terms of design. So, Karth the Lion. He's 2 colorless. He. For a black and a green, so he's a Golgari. Legendary creature, human warrior. He's a 3/5 that reads, whenever Karth the Lion enters the battlefield or a planeswalker you control dies, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may reveal a planeswalker card from among them and put it in your hand. Put the rest at the bottom of your library in a random order. The other ability, which is the fun one and a very cool one because of what it implies. Planeswalker loyalty abilities you activate cost an additional +1 to activate. the most amazing part is this is our first official Magic card that has the loyalty. If it's not like an actual Planeswalker, I mean, but like an actual normal
Loyalty
creature.
symbol.
Yeah, the loyalty symbol is included in an actual card, and I found that
And it's rules
very
text.
cool. It's very cool seeing that, and being acknowledged that it exists. I guess on an actual card that isn't like a Planeswalker card. I think it's like a really cool Golgari commander. Like it could be a really cool commander in Golgari colors. There's amazing black and green and Golgari planeswalkers, which I'm pretty sure you can do like an amazing planeswalker deck with this. Obviously the second ability is amazing because what it says basically is if a loyalty ability costs 0, because everything is a cost with these loyalties. They're not like it's not part of the ability. It's the cost that you pay. You pay 0, you pay minus 1,000, you pay plus 5, whatever. So if you pay 0, you actually pay plus 1 because it adds a plus 1 in addition to activate. If it's a minus 1, then it goes to neg, which is great. It goes great because then you can start including some of the War of the Spark planeswalkers, some of the rare ones that usually have -1 abilities, which are really powerful, like say Ashiok, for example. And now Ashiok,
Narset
too.
Narset is a -2, but being able to do that multiple times.
Exactly, you'll be
even
able to
more.
do it 5 times. It's ridiculous. And then Ashiok, which is very annoying because it's going to be very sticky with 5 loyalty and doing 0 every turn. It's kind of bonkers. I feel like I feel like there's a possibility that this could do something in Modern if they brew like a Super Friends type control-y Golgari deck.
Have we seen Super Friends in Modern before, though?
Yes. There was this one deck, I forgot the proper name for it, but the deck went turn 1 Arbor Elf,
okay,
turn 2 Utopia Sprawl, make 4 mana, cast Nahiri,
okay,
and then you just write and had a lot of counter spells, and you just write Nahiri into an Emrakul, and it was a 4-color. Oddly enough, the color that it didn't have was black.
Okay.
But it was a pretty like popular 4-color deck.
Okay.
And it had a few planeswalkers. So this is very interesting. If they maybe a 5-color deck or just removing one of the colors in favor of this.
Oh yeah, no. If you have a 5-color Super Friends deck, it's an auto include in the 99. Like
this would have been fun to see in Standard. I think it would be fun in Standard for some reason.
I agree. It'd be kind of cool to see it in Standard. I don't think it'd be.
I hope we get something similar, like down the line. If they've already, I guess you can say, tested out by launching it with Modern Horizons. It doesn't have to do the same thing. I would like to see something similar, though. Maybe more cards with the +1 loyalty on their on their rules text. Like seeing more of that would just be really fun.
I agree. I like seeing the loyalty icon on these cards. It's really cool. The next card on my list is Suspend, because I'm a filthy blue player. Suspend is 1 blue. It's an instant. It reads exile target creature and put 2 time counters on it. If it doesn't have Suspend, it gains Suspend. Very simple, very cool removal. It's like a delay where you counter something and then it gets I think 3 time counters on it. This is like exile target creature and put it away for 2 turns. I love it. I think it's really cool removal. There's obviously better removal like in Commander even for blue. But if you don't have
though?
What?
For the cost of 1 blue at instant speed? Though?
Yeah, you have Pognify, you have the other one.
Pognify makes a 3/3, correct?
Yeah,
yes.
but I'd rather deal with
you exile the creature either way or destroy it, I think it is.
Destroy.
You destroy. Okay, so fine, you get to exile, but it still comes back. So you do have to be considered that you have to deal with this in 2 turns. Unless you have like a Teferi Time Raveler and do some filthy tricks in Modern where you basically be like, turn 1 Suspend, turn 2 I play my land, turn 3 I have a Teferi, so your shit ain't coming back. And you can be like that filthy control player. It could be a thing. I don't think it's going to be very powerful in Modern. I think there's obviously 1,000 better options for removal in terms of other colors. And, there's not going to be like a mono blue deck in Modern at all. So there's no need for this card to exist and it wouldn't be used anyways. So
interesting though, as you could exile your own commander in response to a board wipe. And you don't have in 2 turns.
You
it
don't
will
have
come
to
back.
cast
Oh
it,
yeah, sure, of course, yeah.
So you kind of go against.
It has versatility. That's why I'm saying in Commander.
Yeah.
great. It's great.
I
Yeah,
think
it's
it
good.
still has utility and stuff in something maybe not specifically modern, but in like a faster format. Like, well, I guess modern. That's the only one that really is going to be
Like
like using
Legacy,
this spell.
would never use this. So
Yeah, but I
yeah,
feel like it
Two
does have
turns in
some
legacy is an
utility.
eternity.
true. But
I feel like it
I don't
still
know.
has some use because we've seen what's this called? Like there's that has the I think it's like comes down for 3 and it basically gives you an extra combat or an extra turn or something like that.
Mm,
You exile it. It's like you cast it, you exile it, you get an extra turn, but then you have to pay. I think it's like 3 or 4 or 5, either 3 or 5 mana to be able to like not lose next turn. Or actually, no, you lose with that card. You lose automatically. It's
it
like
has
you
to be
get
a
an
red
extra
card.
combat and you lose automatically. So the point is,
Oh,
it's just kind of like the kind of card that delays the end, and I feel like suspend could do that in the case of it's really situational. It's like
Yeah.
you just need an extra to keep a creature out of the battlefield for an extra turn or two so you can swing in for the win or something like that. I feel like it does have some usefulness in that sense.
okay, fair enough. JP, anything you want to add?
No,
Gucci.
yeah.
Okay. Any blue card? JP's like, I don't care. Okay. Glimpse of Tomorrow. I found this very
Yes.
spicy.
Enjoy
Glimpse of
that.
Tomorrow. It is a card that does not have a mana cost because you're supposed to suspend it for 3, paying two red.
Mhm.
So you suspend it for 3 turns, and then when it comes out, it says it's a sorcery that reads: shuffle all permanents you own into your library, then reveal that many cards from the top of your library. Put all non-aura permanent cards revealed this way onto the battlefield, then do the same for aura cards. Then put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. This is fun. This is fun for
Yes.
Commander. This is chaotic AF. I'm
Yes.
pretty sure that people crazy enough, like Christopher and Bob, the other Bob, they're gonna brew crazy shenanigans with this stupid card. We're gonna have a bunch of stupid permanents
Just
that
want to
don't do
stick it in
anything.
Joyride and watch it do things.
There you
It's
go.
literally,
Exactly.
it's literally just Warp World.
Oh
but
yeah,
for-
you know, it's Warp World. Yeah, of course. It's
So
suspended Warp World.
okay,
Yeah.
I need to look for this card. It's the card that the card that lets you cast suspend cards for free.
hmm There's a bunch. Foretold.
It's an enchantment.
Foretold.
Foretold, yeah.
Yes, foretold.
Yeah, that enchantment with this could make
Oh,
a
yeah.
proper a cool, interesting deck.
Yeah.
Just have Emrakul's and
Mhm.
and Kozilek's and just a bunch of big stuff. Somehow
stuff.
have a lot of permanents. Early like you want permanent on turn
Permanents with with
1.
ETBs would be great too.
Ooh, a lot of 0-drop artifacts.
Yes.
Because
That's the first. That's why I thought of sticking it in Joyride. You just
Joyride.
cast a bunch of
in
stuff for
modern you
free
could
and then
go
just look for win cons.
you could go like 4 Mishra's Baubles.
Sure.
Let's say you have like just crazy turn 3, like turn 1 you play a Mishra's Bauble, don't crack it. Turn 2 you play 2 more Mishra's Baubles, you don't crack them. Turn 3 you play as foretold, and then Glimpse of Tomorrow. You have what's that?
You have
3 7
lands.
permanents.
Yeah.
It's pretty big possibility
Mm-hmm.
for at least if you have a lot of bombs in your deck.
Yep. It's a
And,
nice spin the
and you
wheel.
also mess them up. It's very risky though.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of these suspend cards, and I'm pretty sure you guys probably have a few in your list. When they come out, I'm pretty sure the foretold deck that was kind of dying out in modern will be revitalized.
Yeah.
It depends on which suspend cards they find worth it, because obviously living death.
There's one that's really really strong, and it's on your list. It's on my list. So
Yeah. But
Talk
I'm
about
saying, like, for example, having the restore balance and having the living death, those are very strong ones. So having stuff up to par or creating new brews using foretold might be, the way to go. My next card is Gaia's Will, which is another very
That's the
powerful
one.
suspend card.
That's the one.
Broke as shit. Okay,
That's
so let's
the
talk
one.
about Gaia's Will. It's a sorcery suspend for 1 green, which is stupid. Until the end of your turn, you may play land cards and cast spells from your graveyard. That's stupid. If a card would be put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, exile that card instead. Thank God. Obviously it had to.
It's just suspend Yawgmoth's Will.
Yes. Color shifted as well.
Color shifted. Okay,
As well.
one thing lore-wise, Yawgmoth, when he became a god, said that Gaia was a being equal to him.
Mhm. Okay.
So it makes sense that Gaia's Will is reminiscent of Yawgmoth's will.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the professor video next week where he's gonna bitch about all the green support that this set is giving them.
It's
gonna happen
it
again.
is a lot. Like
It's too much.
this feels like a staple in green now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Especially in Commander.
Oh,
I'm sure that there's just gonna be like Manamorphose is a thing.
Yeah.
So Stormy type decks
Mhm.
can create green mana rather easily.
Yep. I
So
agree.
Gaio's Will might be a thing.
No,
Like,
no,
it
it's
might-
people are definitely gonna try because this is too broke as shit to not even give
Yeah.
it a go in modern and in Commander. Like you said, it's gonna be eternally playable. Because worst case scenario, you're just the only thing is you put a target on your back. If you do this shit, people are gonna know in 4 turns you're gonna go nuts. So
Well-
if you have like a Muldrotha deck or something super crazy and you're adding this on the spot and people are aware you're doing this, that's why you need to do it like faster or you need to
Yeah.
suspend it like on turn 1 so people can't target you so quickly.
Remember that Cascade.
Oh yeah, of course.
Can
Cascade is
get
a
that.
thing.
So
Of course. So
a
if
friend-
you put
a
it like on a
friend-
Cascade deck, so
A friend of mine had a Yidris deck.
Yeah.
And it was basically a storm deck.
Yeah.
With a bunch of cats, like because when Yidris deals damage, all your spells gain Cascade, and
Yeah.
he had extra Cascade stuff and extra combat and extra turn stuff,
Mhm.
so he could deal multiple instances of Cascade, and then start going off by
Mhm.
casting a million spells. This would let him just keep on going from his graveyard.
No, yeah. Any Cascade deck would obviously be an auto include, like a super auto include in that. Christopher, anything you want to add?
Nah,
You're good.
man, everything that
It's
had to
broke
be
as shit.
said.
Yeah, it's broke
Wait.
as shit. Huh?
No, okay, no. Asphodel only lets you cast one spell.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Ignoble Hierarch.
Yes, also
Haha.
on my list.
Yeah.
I love him. He makes me want to play dragons again.
So he's a green 0/1 creature goblin shaman by the same artist as Noble Hierarch, by the way. He has Exalted. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, the creature gains +1/+1 until the end of turn. And you can tap it for Jund colors. So it's black, green, or red. He's amazing. I love the fact that we got another type of hierarch. I love it because it's really good for modern. It's really cool for Commander, but especially it's really cool for modern because it's really going to brew a bunch of new decks.
Yes.
I know the Goblin deck apparently had a problem sometimes with mana fixing or getting early stuff out. This obviously fixes the issue. It is also a goblin, so it helps. The Jund colors have traditionally been very powerful in modern, so this is going to be like a super auto include. It's obviously better than birds, so even decks that might only have like Gruul colors or maybe Golgari colors or whatever, or even like Rakdos colors. Well, no, they can't do that. But if they have like Gruul or Golgari colors, this will be an obvious auto include in it for now until the end of times. Very powerful.
I feel like its price is gonna reflect Noble Hierarch, as a Noble Hierarch being a mana dork has been at the $136 mark before.
Yeah.
So considering this is like Noble Hierarch has had what three printings,
Mhm.
and still
The last one crashed it. It's around $20 now.
It's but still $20
Still
$20 for a
$20
mana.
for a mana dork.
$20 for a mana dork. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. Consider like Birds of
Yeah,
Paradise.
same.
I know Birds of Paradise is strictly worse, but it literally gives you any mana. So yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's like still
It's insane.
like this.
Yeah, it's
I feel like this is probably going to be reprinted in the future
Yeah, it has
because of how popular it'll be.
Yeah.
It'll be
Need
reprinted
that.
once, maybe twice in the future, and maybe then the price will go down. But this is a money card right here.
Yeah, it's a super money card, and it's at a rare, which is good because that means it's going to be more in the market, even though it's going to be it's going to be expensive.
Yes,
Christopher, what do you think? Anything you want to add?
I
You
just
said you
want to
loved
play
it.
dragons, man. I want to play dragons with it, and I want to play my token deck with it because I needed more mana dorks. Because those three colors, for some reason, funny enough, sometimes especially red and black, are the ones that give me a bit of trouble in my token deck, even though it does have a lot of ramp.
Okay.
So, especially for the early game, that is just perfect because sometimes I'll get hands with just like too much green, and that happens in most decks that actually run like ramp with green. You get too much green, and then you're like, okay, how do I access my other colors if I didn't open with ramp?
Yeah, no, this is a great ramp. It's a great ramp, and obviously the Exalted ability
Yes.
is amazing. Let me get the next card on my list. Give me a second. I didn't set up quick. Paste and oh no,
You put two of them. Yavi Maya.
Oh yeah. Sorry. What?
Yavi Maya. Sorry.
Oh, that's why Gavi.
Espera.
I always
Yavi
called her
Maya?
Yamivaya.
Yeah,
Oh god.
Yavi Maya.
Yavi Maya.
Yavi Maya. There you go.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. Oh,
I was
shoot.
getting
Got
her
it.
name
Got the
There
wrong.
it
card.
is.
Got the card.
There it
Okay.
is.
Yavi Maya, Cradle of Growth. It's a legendary land. Very simple effect. Each land is a forest in addition to its other land types. Obviously, this harkens to Orborg, obviously. But it's not gonna be utilized in the same way as Urborg. But the cool thing about making everything a forest is that there's so many cards throughout Magic's history that utilize having forests as a priority.
Forest Walk is perfect.
Forest
The
Walk is a
Forest Walk
thing.
deck would benefit highly from
Nissa.
this.
Nissa,
Yes.
Forest Walk, the
Nissa.
I think that right, like
Yeah, the other like the
Maya, the
legendary
actual
creature.
the legendary creature benefits from having everything be a forest.
There's that
And the cool
enchantment
thing,
that gives you +1/+1 for each forest too.
exactly. So the cool thing about this too, when you think about it, usually mono green decks have to be very reliant on green, and they can't splash a lot of utility lands. This allows them to be a little more flexible with the usage of utility lands, which is cool because green has always had to stuck to have being very forest reliant. So that's very cool to having the possibility. Hopefully they'll print like a Cabal Coffers equivalent to
No.
this, because that would be insane.
No.
I know they're not
That'd
going
be
No.
to.
too much
I know they're not
actually.
going
Never.
to.
Like
I
you
know.
haven't
I
you
know.
have
I know.
more
I
than
know.
enough with Nykthos.
No, I know they're exactly, and Nixtos obviously very powerful with this as well.
Mm-hmm. Just don't. Please.
JP, what do you think? Anything you want to add?
I really like the design space of this card, leading up to the other three colors having a proper area that could be called theirs, and thus having cards that were represented. Because when I think of red and lands, I think of Valakut.
Yeah.
So having a Zendikar one for Valakut, the most the card is Valakut the Molten Pinnacle. That's the combo card in Modern.
Yeah.
But having another version of that.
Mm-hmm.
For like I don't know, like it makes everything mountains in addition. Then having a white one that's I don't know a place revolving around Sarah maybe. I know there's Sarah Sanctum, but
I think there is a land that does something similar. Is there not in white? I don't think it makes
Sarah Sanctum is the only
planes,
one. Sarah
Okay.
Sanctum is the only one. It adds a white for each enchantment you control.
Okay.
Just similar, like it is the equivalent of Gaia's Cradle.
Yeah.
So something like that. So maybe the blue one. I don't know where it would be, but it would be very nice to have all the entire cycle
Mhm.
be explored. And
I feel like the blue one would definitely be from Dominaria.
or Tolarian, like the Tolarian ruins.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know, but very much like I mean, Yavi Maya and Urborg are both in Dominaria.
Yeah.
That is true.
So if they're keeping the
Keeping the Dominaria theme would be like
Dominaria
really
theme, then I would understand. But still, completing the cycle would be very nice.
Yeah. Cool. Christopher, anything you want to add?
Nah, we all good here.
Cool.
Never make a green Cabal Coffers.
No.
Wizards,
never.
if you're hearing me,
It's not necessary.
please, it's not necessary.
So I picked the next card on my list is Ravagan, Nimble Pillifer. If you remember this monkey, that monkey hangs out with what's the name, Christopher?
Karizev.
Karizev. Thank you very much. So he's a legendary
He's my
creature,
favorite,
monkey pirate. Whenever Ravagan Nimble Pillifer deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token and then exile the top card of that player's library. Until the end of turn, you may cast that card.
He
And
literally just steals stuff from
for
you.
a 2/1, you have dash for a colorless and a red. This thing that I love about this is that we have, I guess, a strictly better Zurgo as a potential mono red commander. Its ability is amazing because it already replaces itself. If you cast it on turn 1, by turn 2 it already replaces itself with the treasure token. And if you dash it, which you might be able to, usually you want to dash these type of creatures, it pays for half of its cost on the get-go. And then it'll go back to your hand and you can redash it, or you can just pay it normally, whatever. You get to start stealing stuff from the top of the opponent's library on top of you smacking their face. So you're doing a double whammy, because mono red commander decks usually just want to be very hyper aggressive, like the Zurgo deck. You want to beat them down very quickly so they don't have time to recover. And adding this is great because now you have the added fact that you're making mana. You're producing mana in red, which is amazing. You're ramping up. And on top of this, you have the possibility of nabbing like a good card you might be able to use for your own benefit. Christopher, you love this card. Give me something
Yes.
else you want to talk about.
Yes, I mean, there's just not a lot to say. I can start stealing things and I can just be petty about it in turn one. It's like I lost my last commander game. Who killed me? Okay, you. Come on, give me something from the top of your library. It like anything that gives me the possibility to be petty if I wanted to with it. To me, is
Yeah.
just an extremely fun card, and it's kind of like I just want to build like decks around that kind of thing. Just being a petty bitch every time you play
Yeah.
commander.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to add that usually when you're stealing something from the top in recent sets, you need to pay. It allows you to pay any color of mana. This doesn't, but it does
Mhm.
make the treasure
Exactly.
to compensate
To
for that.
compensate.
So I feel like it's very flavorful and mechanically impactful.
And I also like that it just removes stuff from like before your opponent can even get to them. Like that whole concept to me is fantastic, especially in mono red, which even though you have lots of removal with burn and mono red, I don't feel like you don't have any way to like counter things. Destroy effects aren't exactly like plentiful in red because obviously it's just centered around burn. So having stuff that red doesn't normally do is always really fun to me as well. Same as like that one goblin that bounces stuff to people's hands. Like
Mhm.
cards that do something that the color normally doesn't, but it's not super OP. I love it. I'm into it.
Awesome. So my next card is Sterling Grove. It is a
Okay.
reprint. It's a card we've seen before, but it's cool. It's a great reprint to have because it's a really good enchantment in Commander, and obviously it'll probably be very good in Modern. Sterling Grove reads if for a green and a white, it is an enchantment that says other enchantments you control have Shroud. And it also has, you can pay one to sack it, search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it, and then put that card on top of your library. So you don't get to strictly draw it, but you can just do it at the end phase and then just put it on the top and then you draw it. So for 2 mana, you get an enchantment that basically protects all your other enchantments. On top of this, if you feel the need to you need to find a better enchantment to close out the game or to do your combos or whatever, you can also just sack it at the end phase, grab what you need, put it on top as if it was a freaking enlightened tutor, and then snag it in the next turn in your draw step. This was obviously only illegal in Legacy, Vintage, and Commander. It is now accessible in Modern. I believe this might brew very interesting enchantment decks because the accessibility of having tutoring for 1 mana and having the Shroud ability, I think, is very powerful. This was an expensive card. It was sitting like around exactly $15. Now it might be able to dip a little more. I put it more because Fabiola is obviously an enchantment lover, and my next card is also because of her. I find these 2 cards very nice, and I feel like they might breed interesting new enchantment decks. JP,
Is the next card the Mana Dork?
yeah, I
Then
like the Matador.
I'll just reserve my
Okay,
commentary for
cool,
the
cool,
Mana
cool.
Dork.
Uh,
Christopher.
Chris,
Not much to say about Sterling Grove. I just like the shroud effect a lot. I love playing with things that like have shroud, especially when I enjoy the jankiness of just kind of stacking like other enchantments you control have shroud, but this other enchantment does exactly the same thing. So now they're both protected, and it's
oh yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. That obviously we're talking because of the fact that they're not legendary. You can just
Mhm.
put 2, and then you just have everything has shroud,
Yeah,
which is
and I
freaking insane.
enjoy like stacking effects like that. Same thing with like the Oblivion Ring thing, where you just like stack 2 or 3 of them and you get like an infinite combo. That's always fun too.
Yeah, of course, definitely. Well, let's talk about the Manadork. So Sanctum
Okay.
Weaver, it has a 1 colorless and a green for enchantment Riot is a 0/2 that reads an enchantment creature, which is very important. Tap it at X mana of any 1 color, where X is the number of enchantments you control. Yeah, it's very powerful. Any
Okay.
enchantment deck worth its salt will run it forever because it's one of the most amazing mana dorks you can have in terms of what it does and its powerful ability and how cheap it is to just cast it. Um, yeah, like it'll again potentially maybe breed cool and interesting enchantment brews in Modern. And yeah, that's kind of it. What do you want to say, JP?
Okay. There's this little card called Freed from the Real.
Okay, yeah.
Freed from the Real is 2 and a blue
Mhm.
for an enchantment aura. You play 1 mana, 1 blue, and tap enchanted creature. Or you pay 1 blue
Right,
and
right.
untap enchanted creature.
So you go off.
So along with Sterling Grove, this this creature and free from the real. I feel like a banned enchantment deck in modern
Go insane.
is actually very very viable because
Yeah.
if you curve out, you like I don't know what you would do in turn one. There's probably a few card draw spells or effects that could smooth out your draws. If you Sanctum Weaver on turn two and then freeze from the real on turn three, you win because you
Yeah,
have
you do.
infinite mana immediately.
Yep.
Infinite mana, and you probably like the deck would probably have a good payout. But
Mhm.
just having infinite, like just the possibility of infinite mana. Sterling Grove. That's one of the reasons I'm thinking of blue, white, green, is because Sterling Grove is white green. There's Greater Aromancy that gives your enchantment Shroud in addition. So you have redundancy in protection and redundancy in because I'm pretty sure there's another effect that
You can also
untaps.
have like the what's it called? Like the artifact that basically gives tap effects haste.
Oh yeah, of course.
You don't need that because as long as everything on your side is protected, like other than a board wipe, you're good.
That is
Like,
true.
what are you gonna do against the Shroud thing?
Yeah.
The one thing is you can't have Sterling Grove on Sanctum out with Sanctum Weaver because you can't attach.
You can't attach it. You would have to
the,
do it
the
later.
yeah, but Sterling Grove allows you to tutor it.
Yes.
So you wait until you have the Sanctum Weaver and Sterling Grove. You wait until the end step, sacrifice it, put free from the real on top, draw it, and win.
Yeah. It's very powerful.
So it's very interesting. There's also the in Theros the 2-mana enchantment that's the 2-mana enchantment creature that says creatures and enchantments you control can't be countered.
Yeah.
There's just more and more just slowly adding that this enchantment that could be a thing.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
I'm
sure
saying.
people are gonna try.
But people are gonna brew for sure. Christopher.
That's about it, man. It's a really fun card.
Okay. My last card is disapprove. I guess it's not disapprove. Maybe it's with one S, and I wrote it wrong.
2
I'm
P's.
an idiot. Two E's?
Approve, ¿verdad? Yeah, 2 P's.
P's. That's why I'm an idiot, and I had an English degree.
No,
It's not two P's.
two
my God.
S's.
Oh my god!
And two
That's what I
P's.
tried.
No, but 2 S's and 2 P's.
I don't think it's like that. That doesn't look right.
No, it does not.
Disapprove. Disapprove.
Two P's.
Disapprove.
Why am
Yeah,
I getting disapprove?
I did say right.
Let me just search it here. I guess I can't find disapprove.
It's the enchantment.
Yeah, it's the enchantment. That's why. Unless I don't know, like they never put it. They've never
I
bothered
probably
to
had
put
that
it
on
here.
my list too.
There's overlap. The overlap cards.
yeah.
And by the way, overlap cards. I'm just gonna not even
just
show
skip
them
them.
because skip them.
There. You
they're
passed it. You
not
passed it.
on my
Passed
list.
it?
Above. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Desaprobar. Dress
Oh,
down.
dress
Oh
down?
my god! It was
Really?
called
What?
dress down.
Oh, desarropar, no desaprobar.
Do you know the problem is?
Desaprobar, no
But you know the
desaprobar.
problem?
Yeah,
in-
it is desaprobar. What?
in Mystic spoilers, it said disapprove.
Yeah, because it desaprobar, not
I know.
desapropar.
I know.
Yeah.
So I got
That's so
confused.
weird.
That's why I couldn't find the card.
So
Anyways,
yeah,
I guess it's
Scrifle has
called-
it wrong.
I guess it's called dress down.
No. Scrifle has it wrong.
Okay, so Scrifle has it wrong. That's why I couldn't find the card.
Desaprobar. Está en español.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I know.
Well, keep
Está
in
en-
mind
está en-
it's
en
printed in
Portuguese.
English, but then they like. Oh,
This is Portuguese. Yeah,
it's
desaprobar.
Oh,
Disapprove. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's disapprove. So disapprove reads it's a colorless and a blue for an enchantment that it has flash that reads when disapprove enters the battlefield, draw a card. Simple. Creatures lose all abilities. And then at the beginning of the end step, sack it. So what I love about this card is a 1-turn, please don't go off. And this is great in especially Commander, because sometimes it's a 1-turn, please don't go off, because at least I'll be able to stop you from going off with your ETBs or the stuff that's already on the battlefield, whatever. It's good for like a safety precaution in blue if you don't have anything else. And it gives you a draw, so at least you're not losing. You're getting a redraw out of it, which is kind of nice. But on top of that, it's the ability to like creature loses all abilities, so it's like a one turn safety precaution for not dying immediately
Just
to
stop
broken stuff.
combos.
To stop combos. Yeah, stop all the things. Yeah, I don't know how useful it will be in modern. I don't think it will be that amazing in modern. But in Commander, it's pretty cool. JP.
In modern, I feel like it could counter the what's it called? The infinite mana deck that's usually Abzan in colors. It uses Devoted Druid. The Devoted Druid combo.
Okay.
You can just stop that. That's one of the decks it can stop. That's rather pretty. It's like relatively significant. Or what I'm thinking of is making that at the beginning of the end step. I really like that it's at the beginning of the end step, not your end step.
Yeah.
I do like that because it makes it more balanced, but also I'm just thinking of ways to try to abuse it, like Sundial of the Infinite.
People mention utilizing like Lurus to but Lurus, you can only do it on your turn, so you're not really stopping anything. What people wanted to do, and Seth mentioned this, is to use it more on your stuff. Meaning, if you have like a Croxa, you have like an Uro, you have stuff like that. You have your Croxa, it has a triggered ability or whatever, and you're like, nah. And then you have a 6/6 for 2 mana. Or I guess 4 mana, because you need the 2 mana for the Croxa and then the extra 2 mana for this. And you get a redraw. And then you have a 6/6 for 2 mana. So it can be used for those type of shenanigans. He mentioned a bunch of other examples, but you get the gist of it. Like he said, instead of a defensive card, it could be used proactively for your benefit. So let's put Shatterfang Squirrel General, which is JP's first card, and he's going to tell you all about it.
Squirrels. That is all.
No, go ahead and say the card.
Okay. This card is bonkers. It's absolutely stupid. It's stupid. 3 mana for a token doubler, basically. Think of it that way. You're not doubling the exact token, but you're making double the amount of tokens, and the extra tokens are squirrels. So if you're making treasure tokens, clue tokens, or food tokens, you still make the squirrel tokens. Very important. It's just tokens. It doesn't care about that. So there's this one card called Pitiless Plunderer. Pitiless Plunderer reads, it's a 3 and a black for a human pirate. It's a 1/4, and whenever another creature dies, you make a treasure token. You're gonna make a treasure token, but you have Shatterfang outside, so you make a treasure token and a squirrel. Now you have so the treasure adds 1 mana. You have a Skull Clamp. You attach it to the token. The token dies. You draw 2 cards. The token dies. Oh look. You make a treasure token, but then you make a squirrel. So you just repeat and repeat. Because Pitiless Plunderer doesn't care about non-token creatures. It's just whenever a creature dies. And that's why it's so strong. So in terms of Commander, that's an infinite combo right there. Really simple, really easy. This is very much... you can make a squirrel tribal. The sacrifice ability is very relevant because you can manage around the amount of damage you want to deal, because you can sacrifice a number of tokens. Let's say you sacrifice 2 of them, you give Chatterfang +2, -2, so he's a 5/1. But then you with Forest Walk, you just swing in for damage. So you can selectively buff and or kill creatures.
Yeah,
I really like this card. Not just because it's a sacrifice in it, because it's squirrel. But yeah, its abilities, it's just really good.
Yeah. Christopher, what do you think?
JP said it all, man. It's just a really cool freaking squirrel. What
If
can I say?
we had John, he would gush a bunch more of it. I love it.
Definitely.
I love that it's a legendary creature. I love that it's Gruul colors. I love the fact that
would this work in modern?
That is a great. So the thing is, we're gonna get to see, if
proper
squirrels...
token decks. No. Just thinking. Don't think about the token, the squirrels. Just think about the token, and because this can just run as a token doubler. You're just making extra tokens.
I guess.
Is there a proper token deck in modern?
Not that I know of on a competitive level.
Like the only thing I can think of is literally just young pyromancer with seasoned pyromancer.
Exactly. And this
Because they
wouldn't. Well, it had junk colors, but would you include this as well?
young pyromancers are like a spellslinger deck,
Yeah.
and Jund colors don't really lend themselves for spellslinger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I'm
This is
sorry.
a tough one because I'm thinking of brews around this,
Hmm.
and it's just difficult because you're gonna make a lot of tokens, and if this sticks around, one of the problems it's a 3/3. If they would have made it a 1/4,
Hmm.
I would have been happy for it in modern.
Hmm.
Because I don't. It's like because as a 1/4, it makes sense in terms of design space because you can sacrifice more creatures and buff him up more.
Hmm.
So you can start swinging in, and you can kind of understand why he has Forest Walk and why he can pump things up. Also, the negative on his toughness. But as a 3/3, you just bolt it and he dies. You just lightning helix it and it dies.
Exactly. That's the problem. That's why I don't know if it will be impactful
It's
in modern.
it's just not. It dies to bolt,
Yeah. That's usually
and
the way to know how good a card might be in modern is if it dies to bolt.
yeah.
And it's a lot of investment, dude, because it's 3 mana. And it doesn't do. I mean, yeah, you can
Anything
do
when it
something.
enters.
Yeah, it doesn't technically do anything except maybe the fact that you can sack squirrels if you already had the squirrels there. But if
You
not,
can
and even
sack
then,
him, I guess,
sure. But you know what?
and like
What are
kill
you
a three
doing?
three
Are
thing,
are you an insane
killing a
person
3/3
playing?
for 4 mana.
Yeah, then you're just being an insane person playing modern. Um,
I mean,
There's plenty of those.
in that sense, you can block with him and then pay black and sacrifice in response to kill a thing. You
no,
block
come on,
actually
come on.
two
Well, don't give
creatures.
don't give. So we live in Wally world in perfect
Well,
utopia
yeah.
land where we can do anything. No, come on. Like, but I think practically, like, this is not gonna be seen a lot of modern play. It'd be interesting to see if regardless, not maybe not this, but the other squirrel cards brew a type of a decent tier 3 squirrel deck. There might be a possibility there, but it's a cool commander. I
Kind of
think it's
tough.
the best squirrel commander that we've had. We've had other attempts at squirrel commanders, both in unsets and actual sets. And I think this is the best version right now that we
Yeah.
have. So that's really cool. The next card on the JP's list is Sword of Hearth and Home.
I just
It's
wanted to
Go
to
ahead.
to, to have this as a highlight as another sword because now we have what five or
Yeah,
no we have
we have
six.
like we have
We have
like three
six.
swords in this set, or two.
No, like right now we have one.
Are you sure it's just one? I swear there's two.
The blue white one is a reprint from
Okay.
Modern Horizons 1.
Okay.
That just has the old style border art.
Oh.
But it does not like up till now we have only one.
Okay.
Modern Horizons 1 got the blue white version
Mhm.
and the red black version.
Oh.
We already had the blue red, the green black, and the blue green.
Mhm.
So with this, the green white, we have 6 in total.
Okay.
So yeah, Sword of Hearth and Home, 3 mana, artifact equipment. It equip costs for 2. Equip creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from green and white. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you exile one creature and look for a land, and then put both of those into play. I like the wording that you put the conserved space instead of having 2 effects that you just put one into play and the other into play. You put them both into play.
Yes.
It's very nice that I'm pretty sure someone was very proud that they designed this and it worked like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to like. There's no specific thing. I'm pretty sure I think it would have worked very well in my Safi deck because you exile something and look for a land, and then when it enters, you get the ETB,
ETB again. Yeah.
and that's really good. But there's nothing specific about swords. I'm not.
All I wanted to mention with this is that it's sort of the Animus, but maybe better in certain situations.
Sword of the Animus is when it attacks, though.
True, but that's why
deal combat
in
damage.
certain situations this might be better because you
Look,
get to
look,
get
look,
a
I got a better
affinity
one
on
for
top
you.
of your land.
Why
Go
not
ahead.
both? Why not both?
Of course, both. But what I'm saying is because Seth mentioned this that Sword of the Animus is like I think the most played equipment in Commander.
Yes,
if not
probably.
right.
Oh,
So
no, Skull Clamp.
Okay, then it's the second best.
It's
But
probably yeah.
this one could get up high up there because it is a green ability on top of the fact that you get a free ETB if you choose. So you don't lose here at all, you know?
Yeah.
So it's really cool. I mean, like you said, it has to deal combat damage, obviously. But it has protection from 2 colors. So you might be able to smack someone who has a green creature or a white creature. So it's not impossible to get the damage in. Christopher, anything you want to add?
Just stick it on a trample creature and have fun with it.
Oh my god.
That's
man.
all I gotta say. You
Well,
like the little kobold that comes down for 0 and you just stick
gonna
the sword
just
on him.
keep saying cancerous stuff.
Yes.
Let's
it's
talk
fun.
about a reprint. Patriarchal's Bidding. Go ahead, JP.
Okay, Patriarch's Bidding, 3 and a black sorcery. Each this is very interesting, like very key to this card. Each player chooses a creature type. Then each player returns all creature cards with that type from their graveyard to the battlefield.
Yes.
So if I choose zombies, you choose humans, and Chris chooses wizards, we all bring each zombie, human, and wizards.
Mhm.
Like we all bring them into play.
Yep.
It's very interesting. It works for everyone.
Yeah.
It's very key to the card. But what I wanted to say is that this card had gotten very expensive.
Yes, I can see there. It's on Onslaught. It says 45.
Yeah,
bucks.
$45. Yeah, it had gotten very expensive. So I really appreciate this reprint. This, in my opinion, if you're running a tribal deck, and you have access to black colors in Commander, you should run this card.
Oh yeah, of course.
You should
It's like a
100%
staple.
run this card.
Yeah, super. Staple.
In Modern, it's 5 mana. It's even if you're bringing everything back. 5 mana usually means a win the game, or it's just not like 5 mana is just bad.
Yeah, it's not gonna be able to close out the game. You're right. It's cool. Like maybe someone can brew a reanimation thing, but we already have the other one, the persist card, the actual persist card, which is infinitely better than this. So that's the problem.
that's
And even
on my
like
list.
living death or living end. Which one is the one that
Both.
that has suspend?
Living
End.
Living End.
Living end. So if we have living end in Modern, which people abuse and use way too much. So Patriarchal's Bidding is, great reprint for Commander players, but I don't think it's gonna make a splash in Modern. Christopher, anything you want to add?
I just want to think of more cancerous stuff to do with it. Exile people's graveyards. Have fun with a Tormod's Crypt and just say, okay, I'm the only one bringing stuff back. Come on, name creature types. I dare you. I double down.
Sylvan Anthem. Go ahead, JP.
Green enchantment. Sylvan Anthem is green enchantment. Creatures you control, green creatures you control, get a +1/+1, and whenever a green creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1.
Okay.
Why does green keep getting so many good stuff?
They literally got a crusade, but
because
better.
obviously elves need to be better.
Dude,
This is better than
literally
Crusade.
This is better. This is literally a white card, but better.
Yeah,
It's insane.
which is hilarious because it happens to
had this in
be
white, but
but it happens to be a white card,
Yes.
but better.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
is just let's just shaft white even more.
I don't
Let's just-
understand. When you see stuff like this, like it pisses me off. I actually kind of want to go on a little 1 minute rant.
go for it.
This shit pisses me off. Like, how is it possible that you color shift? Which is weird because apparently, like, this set is just for color shifting one color, which is green, which already people have been saying for 2 years that green has become a problem in Standard and Modern and all these other because of all these standards that have come out recently. And then you go print a strictly better Crusade. And it's not like the most amazing effect ever because when it's your battlefield, you scry 1, but it's strictly better. I don't understand. Why couldn't you just give this to white? White weenie is a thing. Green, I don't even see how green could kind of abuse this, except if they do it with the
Commander,
green tokens.
Yeah, Commander or
Mono
the
green tokens.
yeah, mono green tokens, because now it's a thing because they included green
Skew
storm
mob.
cards, by the way, which is another thing we can
Wait,
do.
is it
yeah.
skew mob? Like the skew, like with the skew
No,
that
no.
makes a copy every time you put down a land.
Sure, I mean, yeah. There's a bunch of green creatures you could put in. There's a bunch of green tokens you could buy. The thing is like this wasn't needed for green. This is there's no need. There's literally an effect that reads whenever a green creature enters the battlefield and you're going to describe it. There's like 5 of them. There's 5 enchantments that do this. Why have a strictly better crusade that already has that effect that inherently I've seen it on 3 costed cards or more, and then you have it for 2, and then you have a +1/+1 effect added on top of it. It's just, it boggles my mind. And I can't wait for the professor to make the video, because I know Pleasant Glory already kind of did it, but I'm waiting for the professor to also do the video where he rants about the fact that even though this set, I'll admit, has some really good white cards, and I know JP has highlighted some, this is still unacceptable. How can you have Gaia's Will in green? That's insane. That should have been.
I mean,
I get it. I get it.
Lore-wise,
I
get, yeah.
understand, man, but come on.
Yeah,
Why does green need to have a Yawgmoth's Will on a suspend that costs 1, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, man. That's crazy. Go ahead.
Before you go to you already wrote it down.
Oh no, it's whenever we finish. No,
it's Chatterfang. Chatterstorm. Just real quick, because that wasn't on my list. I wasn't there. Sure. I just really want to talk about that card because I forgot I was there.
Oh yeah.
Chatterstorm. Yeah, there.
Yeah. Let's talk about beautiful Chatterstorm. Let's put
this. Well, I don't know why they printed this card. It's going directly into the ban list of Pauper. It's not gonna. It's just gonna be like
directly. It's first day. First day release.
Like it's literally just. You know how Lutri was preemptively banned in Commander? That was a whole shebang. Like that was a whole thing. Yeah, this card is probably just gonna. Like, it should be preemptively banned.
I agree. Yeah.
If the storm card that gains you life, was that banned?
They've banned all storm cards in Pauper because it's all of them are super abusable in Pauper.
I'm pretty sure they did, right? The one that gains you life.
Telling you, all storm cards are banned in Pauper.
Yeah, so this is just gonna be banned again. I don't know why. I mean, we were talking about Green Storm in Modern. Yeah. So look at here, because we were talking about Gaia's Will with Manamorphos, but now you have green and red, so maybe
Burning Tree Emissary, Burning Tree Emissary, Burning Tree Emissary, Burning Tree Emissary, Burning Tree Emissary,
Manamorphos, Grape Shot and or Chatterstorm.
Chatterstorm. Go off.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. This card is actually crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is. Like, it's cute because, squirrels, but wizards, come on.
Death by squirrels, except it's just going to be banned immediately.
Hey, look,
Pauper.
on the bright side, they don't have flying. Am I right?
The problem is that it's a storm card, and Pauper generally is able to abuse storm very effectively. That's usually the problem. Like, any other storm card has already been banned. So, yeah, Charizard is a really good card. Yeah. Let's put the one I'm not even going to bother. So you go ahead and I'm sorry. There we go. And go ahead.
But Asmarano Marty Karai Stina Kuldakar is
say that 3 times really fast.
I have several times. I say this all the time. I love this name so much. I say this name every single time I can. Asmarano Marty Karai Stina Kuldakar. Asmarano Marty Karai Stina Kuldakar. Asmarano Marty Karai Stina Kuldakar. Want me to say it 7 times? Because I can. It's cool. Okay. Anyways, it's a legend. She is a legendary creature, human wizard. She's a 3/3, so she has this special ability. She has no mana cost.
Yes,
but she has color identity for red and black. Mm-hmm. As long as you've discarded a card this turn, you may pay red or black a hybrid mana to cast a spell. So you pay 1 mana. She's effectively costed 1 mana, but you need to discard a card beforehand. Mm-hmm. When Asmarano Mardikadai Stinokuldakar enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a card named Underworld Cookbook. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. And then her second ability is sacrifice 2 food tokens. Target creature deals 6 damage to itself. Yes. So this little card. When the spoilers started, it was like a week ago, and I had mentioned that the 21 commanders that did not make the cut for Commander Legends, we made a video on that.
Yes,
we just discussed all of them. I felt like they're gonna use, they're banking on nostalgia. They're using old cards, and most of those cards were old commanders, like old legends in terms of their lore. And this is a very old card in terms of its lore. So my prediction was they're going to use a few of those for this, and up till now they've only used one, but I'm really glad it's this one.
Yeah.
It's a horrible card. It's not good.
No, it's not.
The Underworld Cookbook is what you need the Underworld Cookbook to make it good. It's right there. You tap it, discard a card, and create a food token. And you pay 4, tap it, sacrifice the Underworld Cookbook, and return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah. It's a 1 mana costed. It's not good.
No, it's not.
Like this deck as a commander.
Exactly why I want to build a commander good. With it.
The problem?
In modern, it's not good.
No.
I guess the one thing you could do is like the 1 mana discards, and you get let's say turn 1 land. I don't know what you would do. Turn 2, the card, the adventure card, the 1 mana discard a card, draw card, and then pay 1 mana for her, and you get a turn 2 3/3, which is still not that good.
Yeah,
and I feel like they should have just gone a bit stronger in terms of her power, because the fact that it's modern and Faithless Looting is banned makes this very unplayable, and Faithless Looting is the only card that would enable this as easily as it could.
The problem is they wanted to make like a little cute card that you'd be like, oh, I want to play this in Commander. The problem is, and I think
there's 8 food cards in black.
That's one problem, but I feel like the major problem is the thing that ties it to the Underworld Cookbook. You only can search it if it's in your library. Why does this card not say searching your library or your graveyard? This was obviously designed to be a cutesy commander card. Why this giant oversight makes no sense to me.
Which is kind of disappointing, because I feel like the way you cast her is kind of unique.
Yes.
I don't know. She doesn't have a converted mana cost, and then you got to discard and do the thing. Like, I think it's a really unique mechanic that was kind of wasted.
But when you cast it, you get to say you cast Asmorano Mardikar Istina Kuldakar.
And that's where it ends.
Yeah.
But at least
that's where it ends.
Like, you won the game. You cast something with a name that long. By the time you by the time you finish saying it, everybody scoops.
Hey, it's immune to Pithing Needle.
Yay!
Because who's gonna say I named that card? Say the name. Come on, say the name.
I can't. Asmorani Mardika de Steinekuldakar.
I'm not even gonna try.
I tried. I did my best, but I feel like it should have. Right, JP? Am I wrong? Like, this is a giant weird oversight that it only searches it in your library.
One thing I want to add to this is the original design for this card did not involve food.
Okay.
When we discussed it, and I told you guys that she made a cookbook, I said it would be interesting if they made a Rakdos food for her. It would be very bad, but it would be interesting.
Yeah.
And they did. I'm gonna go back to this card afterwards. When we discuss the next card. Is the next card? No, it's not the next. It's not the next card, but it's in the next few cards.
Sure. Okay, I'm gonna keep going then. Imperial Recruiter, great reprint.
Okay.
Going into Krenko, yes.
So 2 in a red, creature human advisor. When it enters the battlefield, search your creature library for a creature card with power 2 or less. Put it into your hand, then shuffle your library, and it's a 1/1.
Yep.
Freaking unban Splinter Twin. Do it, cowards. Do it, cowards. This is like I play like as the master of the cube in our play group. This is the card that enables Twin a lot easier. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've since disabled, like I've since taken out Twin, but when I had it in the deck in the cube, this allowed it to be a lot more consistent. Yeah. Even in cube, it's still very consistent. Twin is very consistent in cube, as long as you have the actual cards. But this card enables a lot of combos. The Recruiter of the Guard, which is the inverse of this, 2 and a white for a 1/1 human, I think, advisor as well. And instead of searching according to the power, it's searching according to the toughness, and it's 2 or less as well. That's played in Legacy.
Okay.
In every deck, that creature-based deck that runs white, usually that they play a few of them,
Mhm.
and it's quite the expensive card because of that. So I'm not going to be surprised if we see this pop up in a few decks,
I
just
agree.
here and there, because it's just very versatile.
Hmm.
It's a body and it draws you a card, and it
You can
tutors a card
search.
actually.
You can
And
search
tutors.
for Ravagan with it.
You could,
Sure.
yeah.
You could. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything you want to add, Christopher?
You can search Ravagan with it. That's all I need. I
It's a,
can
it's a,
search. I can look for my Imperial Recruiter if I have, like, not Imperial Recruiter, the other guy, the Goblin Recruiter.
I yeah, I appreciate the consistent reprinting of this card because this was literally in double masters, even though it's still on a mythic, and that's why it's still relatively expensive. But considering
Mhm.
the fact that before Masters 25, which was a horrible set by the way,
It was a
this card was
400
yeah.
card dollar card,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's like super like if you have the ability to use it in commander, you would use it in commander because it's really very powerful ability. So I'm glad it's getting reprinted again, so it keeps lowering the cost down for us, the poor people.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Lotus Cryptozoologist, a green and a blue for a legendary creature snake elf scout that is a 1/2. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, investigate. Investigate is you create a clue token. Clue tokens read pay 2 mana, sacrifice this artifact, and you get to draw a card. Then this Lonis says tap it, sacrifice X clues, and target opponent reveals the top X cards of their library. You may put a non-land permanent card with mana value X or less from the battle from them onto the
Among
battlefield
them.
under your control.
Mhm.
That player puts the rest on the bottom of their library in a random order. Okay. This is what I was before we started. I really wanted to talk about this. Let's compare this with Asmarano, Mardikara, Steel, and Kutakar.
Mhm.
So there's gonna be each set in Magic the Gathering in recent history has had very specific mechanics attached to it. I'm pretty sure that's been a thing in Magic ever since ever.
Mhm.
Sets have mechanics attached to them. So the set that had this mechanic attached to it was Shadows over Innistrad. They had the clue mechanic, and a lot of cards revolved around clues. I really like the design space that this is a commander that can use clues, but is self-sufficient
Mhm.
with clues. So you don't need to run any clue card. Now, taking fact, like in retrospect, Asmarana Mardika Sinakota card, she requires you to make food tokens for her ability to work and to removal ability, but she does not create food tokens.
Mhm.
The Underworld Cookbook, which she tutors, does,
Mhm.
which in theory makes up for it, but it really doesn't.
Exactly.
There's in recent like in the last Commander sets, Guillaume Master Chef. He was also very self-sufficient with the mechanic he was using.
Yep.
He was using food.
Mhm.
So that's a very interesting design space that they're using old mechanics to fuel newer legendaries. So the example I was gonna give is make a blue, red, green legendary creature that that produces energy.
Mhm.
So it could be self-sufficient and not need any energy card, but also have energy cards to supplement and make it work.
Yeah.
And thus you start using old mechanics with older cards that are very niche in their use, but create very unique commanders. Because this is a very unique commander. I was making a Vanarfar Prime Speaker Vanarfar deck, and until they banned Flash Hulk, like they banned Flash, and this is just a better deck in my opinion. Because
Yeah.
the problem with Vanarfar is just he was just combo, and unless the table is ready for it, and they know what they're going into and what the power level is appropriate, Bannerford is just going to take over the game because it's a combo deck and it's a very fast, efficient, powerful combo deck, and that's just not fun in a casual table. But
Yeah.
its power level is just right because you could get a lot of clue tokens on the battlefield really fast. But the detail is you don't really do anything with them other than draw cards and then steal the things from your opponent. So really you have no proper control over it, and you would be using your opponent's cards. So the power level will depend on your opponent. So it's very appropriate for any table that's not like hyper
aggressive,
hyper competitive.
Okay.
So this is very I really like this. One of the cards I was gonna talk about is Cedrus the Traitor King. So it's 3 blue, black, and red. It's legendary creature zombie warrior for a 5/5, and he says each creature card in your graveyard has Unearth. This is another example of a legendary creature using a mechanic that's very unique to one set, but that can be applied to other sets because he gives it to other stuff. We're talking about Dream Devourer that's in standard right now, and how this effect should have been on Raynar the the Ever Watchful, which was the foretold blue-white commander.
Yes.
The Dream Devourer is the one that gives everything that without foretell, and the foretell cost is 2. But it's also whenever you foretell, the cost is reduced by 2.
Yep.
This card should have been just on Raynar.
I agree. That's what we discussed before the podcast started.
Raynar is because the problem is you have these mechanics that you just need. It's very parasitic, and you need to use the exact set. And if this mechanic is just never explored again, then you just have an empty mechanic that's just never going to see play again. That's why I mentioned energy, because I remember they never want to touch energy again.
Yep.
But introducing a card like this with energy would be very safe in a way, as long as it you design it with commander in mind and strictly commander, because it could get strong if it's available for modern. So maybe that type of card would have to be printed in a modern deck. But I really wanted to talk about this because I really like the design space of this.
Christopher, anything you want to add?
Being able to pluck things from people's decks is, again, just really, really fun, depending on what your definition of fun is. And
I feel like
Lonus really just hits that spot, because I've been looking for like a commander that does something like that, but doesn't. I don't know. I don't like picking from people's hands, but because I feel there's kind of limited. And sometimes your opponents can just be like, okay, yeah, sure, pick me, I dare you. And they just because they have nothing good in hand. Picking it straight from their deck, just, take something out of their deck before they can get to it, which is, again, something that I highlighted with the other card. I forgot the name of it, the Glimpse of Tomorrows.
Yeah.
And
I like. Yes, correct. And I just enjoy having that, flexibility. You don't have to wait to counter it. You don't have to wait to interact with it. Really, you just get rid of it before your opponent can do anything about it.
Yeah, echoing what JP said, I think it's a great commander because it inherently has the mechanic ingrained in it. It's not like the other example where you need extra stuff that already is kind of lacking because it was a mechanic that was introduced in one set, which is the food mechanic. And it's very truncated. And foretell, it's the other example. There's many examples. The one mutate. Mutate was something they made such a big deal out of.
That's the idea. They could just make this creature says each creature in your hand has mutate cost for very much like Sutter's King. Sutter's Trader King says each card in your hand has a mutate cost of 2 green.
Yeah. Sure.
And then you just go off and just make one mutated abomination.
This is good design because it allows you to not have to rely on clue cards and Simic colors to make it function. It functions on its own, and you can just splash the clue cards that you want to include, or the investigate cards you want to include, like a Tireless Tracker or Tamiyo's what was it?
Tamiyo's Journal, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can just include those as a little pepper on top of it, but you don't need to rely on them because this inherently makes the mechanic work because it has the mechanic ingrained in the card. Yeah. So I hopefully going forward, because that card, the foretell card, pissed me off when it came out. because I like the idea of the foretell, of the idea of hiding a card away from people, even though it's like not amazing. It's kind of cool. Like I'm hiding a card away, and it's gonna be cheaper
And it's
for
also
later.
you kind of it secures the card, like it makes it like safer to use in the sense that it can't be thought seized out of your hand.
Yeah.
Well, that's about it. They can't like
Yeah.
remove it early, I suppose. That's all.
Sure, but you hide it away because of protecting yourself from thought seizes or whatever. But like in a commander setting, you'd be like foretell, and then you do like a windfall or some bullshit, and then you just be like, I didn't have anything. Now I have a bunch of cards away, and then I have extra shit.
Yeah,
coming in.
I was
That sounds
thinking just
kinda cool.
that. Yeah, that's really
That
good.
would be great, but the stupid
Yes.
card is only reliant on the mechanic that already is like 10 cards in Azorius colors, and you'll never see that stupid mechanic in like 4 or 5 years. Or if they put
If
it like in
ever.
a weird modder set, they might put like 2 of them because they remember the foretell mechanic. That's the problem with these new, like when they introduce these commander decks in standard sets, they're not designing them as they should be designing like for this. Like if they all design it in a way that's kind of similar to this, where they pay homage to the mechanic at hand in that standard set, but it functions independently from having to need all the shitty standard cards of those colors to kind of make it function, then you're dealing with something kind of interesting because it has longevity in the format. Okay, sorry for my rant. Let's get to Flame Rate, which is a great reprint.
This goes in mono red. That's it.
Yeah. Yep. That's simple. It's burn. It's stupid burn for 2 mana. It gives 4 damage to each player. Doesn't matter because you're giving 4 damage to the opponent. Yep. It's used in Pauper. It's used like super used in Pauper. It's ridiculous. It's so powerful. Yeah. Christopher. Yeah. Go ahead.
I just
Anything you
like
wanna
dealing damage to people's faces, and this is exactly what that does.
This is great. This is great for mono red. Great reprints. Great that it's going into modern. Like being able to lava spike you, lava dart you, flame rift you, lightning bolt you, and then you're dead because that's already like 20 damage. That's great. That's great. Let me go grab the other card because it's so simple. But the next card on JP's list, it is called Persist, and I'm not talking about Persist the mechanic. They made a card called Persist.
So it's 1 in a black sorcery. Return target non-legendary creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a -1 counter on it. This is a really stupid card.
Yeah.
It's objectively stronger than Animate Dead, which is Animate Dead has the problem of being, if you destroy the enchantment, the creature goes.
Okay, I'm just thinking of the World Gorger. That's why I'm thinking it's better.
Combos.
Yeah,
Animate Dead
exactly.
has the combos, but this is objectively better as you can just get a creature. That's it. You just get the creature
for 2 mana. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah,
2 mana, get the creature. This is really, really strong.
Yeah,
just
and it says
over
non-legendary, which is very important to highlight.
Yes.
It doesn't get like a Gristlebrand, or it doesn't get like an Emrakul. It doesn't get like an Iona or something broken and shit, which is cool. Sorry, because Seth mentioned the fact that this enables new types of decks to be built around it. Because now we can utilize the cards that before Gristlebrand and Emrakul and these type of cards dominated the reanimation strategies. Now they can be used again because of this limitation, which I think is kind of cool, right?
Yes.
Anything else, JP? I mean,
I
it's
appreciate
your black
the
card.
art because it's a Kithkin. It's very reminiscent to where the Persist mechanic comes from. That's if I'm not mistaken, that's supposed to be an undead Kithkin. Yeah. I like Kithkin because they're basically halflings, and I really like halflings. But yes. This card is just straight up good.
Yeah, really good. It's gonna enable reanimation decks in modern, like definitely for sure.
And
no
this
doubt.
next card you're gonna show.
Wait. But JP, I'm sorry, Christopher. Anything you want to add?
Nah, man, we're all good. I just wish it was at instant speed. That's it. But then again, might be asking for too much. There we go. Look at you. I love that face. Look at that face. We need this at instant speed. That's what we need, sir.
You wanted the Entomb card at instant speed? I forgot the name of the Entomb card.
Yeah. 1 mana, search your library for a creature card and put it into play. Ignore the graveyard part. Just
yeah. Great idea. Instant speed. You know
Zero
what? You can cast
cost.
it before you start the
Yeah,
game if it's
exactly.
in your
Just
hand.
cast it. Just cast it before you start the game.
Yeah.
You know what? Don't even play the game. Just smack the opponent in the face.
Yeah.
You just reveal the card from your hand. No, you just reveal the card in your deck and say you win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And then
just
just,
even better.
just walk away and grab like a burrito. Yeah.
I totally agree.
The next card on our list is Upheaval.
Do you
which
remember
is-
these cards?
I obviously remember because it's
Yeah.
super bad in Commander.
Okay, in the cube, this is one of my favorite archetypes.
Yeah.
I use this with Wildfire, and there's another one that does the same thing. But basically, Upheaval, return all permanents to their owner's hand. It's super banned in Commander because in multiplayer format, if you get ahead really fast with this card. This card, I see it I actually see it being maybe playable in Modern.
Maybe
Titan,
so.
the Titan decks.
Yeah, if you're able to
The Titan
ramp
decks
and
can
do
actually-
amulets, exactly. You
Yeah.
can do like a bunch of amulate triggers and a bunch of that.
Yeah, I can actually see this deck being a thing.
Yeah.
Like maybe like as a one-off that you can just make mana, Upheaval. What you gonna do?
Yeah.
I have mana, so I'm just gonna play everything, and you're empty.
Yes. Insane.
So that's like other than the reprint value, because I really love this card.
Mhm.
The fact that it's actually maybe playable.
Yeah, I agree. In 1v1 Commander, it is not banned, and I have used it before. And I mean, on a competitive setting, it feels great to do an Upheaval and beat your opponent's face, or watching your opponent's face be like, oh, okay, I guess I scoop. It's great, but yeah, I'm glad, and this is the filthy blue player saying this. I am glad that it's not in multiplayer Commander, because this card, no, it's just
In blue green,
At
make
that
all the
point,
mana.
if you're
then
gonna cast
that.
Upheaval, just win.
just win. Exactly. If you're gonna do this type of bullshit, or like if you're doing in like an Armageddon, because I'm very against destroying lands or making you restart the game so hard that you can't come back from it. And I don't mean Cyclonic Rift, because Cyclonic Rift is like, it's the only board white blue has. It's fair for
But
blue.
at least it doesn't get rid of lands.
It doesn't
which
get rid of
is-
lands,
That's
exactly.
what's insane.
Upheaval, like JP said, the problem with being a multiplayer setting is if you're already ahead, you're gonna get super ahead, and then no one's gonna be able to come back from it ever. So
Yeah.
I am glad that it's not legal in multiplayer setting. So the next card on JP's list is Esper Sentinel. Go ahead.
Okay, one mana.
Solid.
Like one white mana, Esper Sentinel, artifact creature, human soldier. It's a 1/1, and whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card, unless that player pays X, where X is the power on Esper Sentinel.
Okay.
People compared this to a Rhystic Study. I would compare this more to Mystic Remora, because it's very much more reminiscent of that. It's a 1/1 creature. It's an artifact creature, so it's very vulnerable. But even at bolt, if you try to bolt it, it could, like, unless it's late game. Usually, when you try to bolt, like if you try to bolt this, it would replace itself. It's conditional replacement, but it would replace itself. And I'm very glad this is in white.
Thank God.
I'm actually happy that they've finally understood that these type of effects should be in white. White is very much about, like, white has been moving away from taxing, but I'm glad that they still understand that taxing is a very key part of the identity of white.
Yeah,
I'm sticking this in Osgear 100%.
Oh, yeah.
People are sticking this in Death and Taxes for sure.
You could stick
Yes,
this in any
maybe.
deck that's running white, and it just there's just
It's
benefit.
a human.
No downside for this. Yes, that's
It's a
the other
great
thing I was
human.
going to point out.
No,
It's
yeah, it's
amazing.
a
I actually
really
like
good
the humans that they printed in this set. I mean, humans are usually always have at least one or two really good human cards, and like most of the sets. So I don't know. I do like the continuing theme. I love the fact that he's an artifact creature, though. That's like the best part for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing maybe to add is, especially in Osgear, when I sacrifice an artifact, I can give it +1/+0.
Yeah, you
And
can
so
boost it.
then its power is 2, so now you have to pay 2.
I feel like the flavor text is kind of unique, though. The way it was like worded, I guess, like action, and then like I forgot what that's called, colon, semicolon. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's just worded very like in a kind of a peculiar way, and it has like that parentheses at the end, which I haven't seen in a lot of flavor text, if at all. So I think it's just kind of unique of that card.
I
Yeah, I didn't
missed
notice that actually.
I missed three cards, but we can cover them at the end. We can go
I guess
to
if there's time. We're
yeah,
already
yeah.
running
Let's
late.
just like Garth One
Um,
Eye.
Oh right, Carthawana. Yeah, we can mention that one. Give me a second. So let's get to Christopher's list.
Yay!
Still Bluff Bridge. Sorry.
I had so much trouble with that too. It's
Go
Silver
ahead,
Bluff
sir.
Bridge.
Oh, the artifact lands.
Yes.
Go mention.
I do like all of the artifact lands. It's an artifact land. It kind of speaks for itself. It's
Cycle.
it comes into the battlefield tapped. It's indestructible, and you can add either blue or red in this case. But it's like the whole cycle for like all. Is it a whole cycle or is it just
Yes.
5?
Oh yeah, it's a
All
whole
10.
cycle.
Yeah,
They got
it's
the
like
whole thing.
it's the whole cycle, which I enjoy so much when Wizards just includes lands and just once like you print the whole cycle in one set and that's it. I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of like splitting cycles in two.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why they might do it on like a competitive level and stuff like for standard and stuff like that, but I just prefer when they just print everything in one go.
Yeah.
All of these are fantastic. They run great in a deck like my my Joyride deck and also the what's the other one? The Planeswalker?
Mhm.
Sahili, like the Sahili deck that depends on like artifacts that you have on the battlefield. Also, if you have a deck like Joyra that's running an Emery, it benefits from this in a huge way. Metalcraft, all those mechanics that depend on like the number of artifacts you have in the battlefield, gain great benefit from these cards. I don't have anything like strictly in mind on how this could affect like the modern format, but I guess it just works great with affinity decks. But I
It'd
don't
be
think
too
affinity
slow
like
because
needs this. Yeah,
because they come in tapped. Seth mentioned that like he really would love if this was a new breed of affinity where you could put cranial plating again and do all those shenanigans.
yeah.
But the fact that they all come
That-
tapped
that
makes it
deck
so difficult.
died.
Yeah, it
As soon,
died.
like as soon as Matsopol was banned,
Yeah.
it just
And,
died.
and this is not gonna bring it back. It'd be cool, but since they come tapped, that's the problem. But they're great for
Yeah.
Commander. If you have an artifact deck, you snag the one that you kind of need or the ones that you need. If
Off
you have
gear.
Breya, go nuts because you're gonna need a couple of these. So yeah. No, it's great. I like the cycle. I like you said, the cycle is complete. So I like that we have this artifact life cycle because when they print these common 10 land cycles that come tapped or whatever, I do appreciate when they have something unique about them. And, being artifact lands, something we haven't seen since Mirrodin, that's a plus. I thought we were actually going to get a cycle of the enchantment lands based on the card that we're going to show eventually. But it's cool that we actually got the artifact lands. So,
Yes.
go ahead.
Ave or Ave, I'm not sure. Ave, because she has like a tilde when you see the English text, which I find kind of weird. So it's like AV or Ave. Progenitor Ooze. She's a legendary, or they is a legendary creature ooze. And the thing that I find unique about the card is that it has Storm. It's a permanent with Storm, which I find fantastic.
Yeah.
It isn't legendary as long as it's a token. And when it leaves the battlefield with a 1/1, it enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter for each ooze you control. So it's basically an ooze lord at that point. I just like the fact, like that's pretty much it. Like the thing that I really like about it is just the fact that
it's a permanent with Storm.
It's a permanent with Storm, which I find kind of insane. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah. JP, anything you want to add to it?
Each token would enter with an additional counter increasing. So it would be a 2/2, then you get a 3/3, then you get a 4/4, then you get a 5/5, then you get a 6/6. So I would just never run this because it would just be a pain to keep track of everything. It's just no. That's
especially if you also have like that white card that puts a 1/1 counter on each creature for
it's fine.
Beautiful JP. Come on, gotta do it. I just want to do it once, I promise.
You can keep track of those. I won't.
What if you put like food chain on top of everything?
Yes. Fantastic.
Yeah, storming off in green. I like the fact that, like you said, it's a permanent with Storm. I like the fact that it breeds a type of weird spell slingy mono green deck because it
Yes.
doesn't have to necessarily be an ooze deck. It could be an ooze deck. You can
Mhm.
have a couple good oozes in the deck, but essentially it'd be like a weird stormy type of deck where you kind of like storm me off with cheap green spells, whatever they may
Yes.
be, and then out of nowhere you're like commander, and then I have like 20 oozes on the battlefield. Then I'll food chain, and then I'll
Yes.
make 1,000 more, and then how do I win? I don't know. I'm
Tap a
just
guy's
food chaining.
cradle and
Yeah, and then I'll just do that, and then I'll just puke on everyone's faces. I don't know, man. Like I'll just go crazy. But let's get to the next card because I forgot about this card. But yeah, of course, thankfully
I
you
could
mentioned
not
it
forget about this card.
because
Like,
man, I was doing this list
oh,
kind of
man.
quickly. So yeah, go ahead.
yeah. First off, that alternate art aesthetic, in my opinion, it's the card that looks the best
Oh,
with that
yeah, for
alternate
sure.
art.
For sure.
It's a pretty unique card. It's an enchantment land.
Yes.
It says Urza's Saga. So in the first mode, it's not mode. What's it called?
It's
Yeah,
the first,
when
the
you
first
put the-
chapter.
First
yeah,
chapter.
the first chapter. There we go. In the first chapter, it gains add 1 colorless mana. So what I find that's really interesting. Actually, let's get to that later. The second effect,
Chapter.
I forgot that chapter. There we go. I'm gonna keep forgetting. Watch. So. Urza Saga gains, you pay 2 and you tap it to create basically an Urza construct, which gets
Yes.
+1/+1 for each artifact you control.
Mhm.
And the third mode, this is where like it gets the third mode and you sacrifice it. Search for library for an artifact card with converted mana cost 0 or 1 and put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle.
Yep.
This is great. It enables. I think that it can actually enable combos if you just get it down and it gets to that last thing. Like you can just search up any artifact that you need to just kind of go off or whatever.
Mhm.
It also kind of replaces itself with that effect as well because you can look up for a what's it called? You can just look for a
Soul Ring? Mana Vault?
yeah, Soul Ring, Mana
It-
Vault, anything that comes down for
but
1 or
it-
0 that just replaces it.
It replaces itself in the card, but it doesn't replace itself for the mana. Because how sagas work, you add the counter in your draw step. So if
Yes.
if you tap it in your draw step for
You're gonna lose the
mana,
mana, yeah.
get the card, but you can't really play the Soul Ring. So you have to wait until your main phase.
What?
And-
No. It puts in the battlefield.
Oh, that is true. It puts it
Yeah.
straight to the battlefield.
what? tutors it directly to- This is Ursa, my friends.
Yeah.
Ursa
Urza's
does
Saga.
things
My
This
brain,
effectively.
my brain went, oh yeah, that
This
puts it
isn't
into your
Squeeze
hand.
Saga. This is Urza's Saga.
Please, this is Ursa's Saga.
Why-
Ursa's Saga
why
doesn't
did
screw things up.
Why did I think this goes to your hand? I
Because
don't-
you think artifacts are filthy and horrible, but they're not. They're perfect and logical.
Of course, yes.
Oh.
The other thing that I really like about this card, like some of the other cards that I've mentioned, is that it's unique in the fact that it's a saga that gains the effects that it has on its chapters instead of it being something that just happens,
Mhm.
which I find was super useful. And I'm thinking to myself, why didn't Wizards do this before? That construct that it creates is just fantastic. I am personally, because I'm not too acquainted with the modern format, I don't know how this would work in like modern as well. I mean, if Affinity could somehow come back, that's the only way I see this kind of working, I guess.
Yeah, there is no proper deck that this just
No,
slots
no.
into
Yeah.
perfectly.
This is just designed for me to put it on my Urza deck. That's all
And
it
my
says.
Here.
It's kind of designed to just go into anything that runs artifacts, really. It's insane.
Yeah. The good thing is like if you want to utilize the land before it goes away in the third chapter, you can at least try to get the second
construct?
ability. Yeah,
Yeah.
make a second construct. So you
Yeah.
you get at least 2 constructs out of it before it disappears into the ether. And yeah, you get to tutor basically, a utility artifact or a mana ramp. So
I really do like how it captures the essence of the lore as well.
Oh, yeah,
like
definitely.
like how like Urza at the beginning, like the adding the colorless mana thing. I guess like when he like starts
He's building
becoming
up.
a planeswalker and stuff. Exactly, he's just building
Yeah.
up. Part 2, he makes Karn,
He
which is like
makes murder
one of his
machines.
greatest achievements. Not just murder machines, but the fact that Karn was like one of his grandest achievements. And when he starts creating like a bunch of he actually becomes an artificer, and then at the end he
He
dies.
searches for the
You're like-
truth and dies.
Yep, exactly. He dies and he brings out just a really fun artifact for you to deal
Yeah.
with later.
it's really good. I obviously, as you know, I love the hell out of it because I love Urza. This is on auto include. When I saw that, I flipped out. I just wish that it wasn't a saga. I just wish that it was a land that did all these 3 things, but that'd be too
Oh.
insane. I know, too insane. I get it.
Just
But-
make it a saga that doesn't sacrifice himself, of course.
Yeah, you know what? Why not? No, yeah, it'd be too insane. I get it. I get it.
I
But
mean,
it's,
there is a way.
oh no, there's ways. And trust me, I've like, theory craft about it, but I'm like, it's too much of a hassle to
Yeah,
keep it on the
it's
field for so long.
too many loops. Yeah.
Yeah, too many loops. I just rather just tutor for something better, because you can tutor for like a zero cost. You can tutor for a land at worst. You can get the artifact land, the blue one, or you can, like I said, mana vault, mana drain, soul ring. There's a bunch of
No.
stuff you can tutor for. Okay, next card on our list. It is Timeless Dragon. Go ahead.
Timeless
bad
Dragon.
card.
Yeah, I know it's a bad card, but I just like the fact that they're bringing, like, I wouldn't say bringing back, but using the eternalized mechanic
Mhm.
again.
Yeah.
And I just like the aesthetic of it. And if the token actually to me just looks amazing, like
I don't
seeing an
know why they
eternalized
decided.
dragon.
No. If this is the single eternalized, this is the single eternalized card. I don't understand why.
No, there's two. There's
There's
two.
two.
There's an Eternal Witness that costs 4 mana that eternalizes as well.
Yeah, but they
Okay.
could have just used Embalm. Embalm does the exact same thing, but it would have kept its stats.
I
It would have
agree.
been a 5/5.
Instead of a 4.
4 mana
Yeah.
5/5 instead of
I
4
like.
mana
I
4/4.
prefer the aesthetic of the eternalized dragon, though. It just looks so damn cool. Like he's literally here because I just like how it looks. That's literally the only reason why Timeless
It's a
Dragon is
bad
here.
card.
I do like the plane cycling though.
Yeah.
The plane cycling I find
It's,
really
re-
useful.
it's reminiscent of Eternal Dragon.
Mhm.
Eternal
Yeah.
Dragon does the exact same thing,
Yeah.
but it costs like 7 mana and it was like a 5/5. And it plane cycles and it just went back into your hand by paying mana.
Yeah.
I think they designed this card as well because if you look at the old border, it has like the little grave that they used to put in all cards that have stuff to do with the graveyard, which
Yeah.
I appreciate. It's a nice little touch that they put on the old border stuff. I like the plane cycling. I mean, it's not good for modern, but what I'm saying is for your filthy
Commander, really.
mono white.
No, it's not good for mono white. I've theory crafted mono white. It's not good for.
Okay.
It's a bad card.
It's a bad card. Okay,
It's a bad
fair
card.
enough. It's a bad card. Okay, but it's a bad
This is a dud rare. You get 3 of these and you're losing.
card. Yeah, you're crying for
Oh,
sure. Go ahead. Oh God, this guy.
Rasta Tempest Roar. The spell costs 3 less to cast for each other spell you've cast this turn. By the way, he comes down for 10 colorless mana and 2 green. So it costs 3 less for each other spell you cast this turn. So more stormy stuff, which is fun. Trample and haste, because of course you got to give the big green thing haste. Trample over planeswalkers, which is like its unique thing that I enjoy so much.
Mhm.
And it has hexproof as long as it has entered the battlefield this turn, which is again kind
Amazing.
of insane.
Yeah.
The trample over planeswalkers thing, first time we've seen this, and I think it's fantastic because I think that I can count a bunch of times where I've just looked at like my opponent's life total and I look at their planeswalker and I'm like, I know I have to get your life total down, but I got to get rid of the planeswalker. It's just frustrating not to be able to hit your opponent's face because you're playing green and you got to get rid of, like, prioritize this dude's planeswalkers or he's going to win.
Mhm.
So, no, it's like I smack your planeswalker and I pressure your face. It's great. It's fantastic.
It's cool that it says trample over planeswalker because again, weird design space, new type of bullshit that we're seeing in new cards. It almost would have been funnier. I know this would have been an unset type of thing if it just said super trample. I know it'd be stupid. Yeah, I know it'd be stupid.
Trample.
But they should have just put
Trample
super
2
trample.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, they should have put something stupid like that because it's cool that it has trample over planeswalker. Like you said, there's weird instances where you kind of want to like punish the opponent for just playing all these planeswalkers that you have to kill, but you
Just
also want to
smack
smack
John
them in
with
the
it.
face. So I get it. Yeah. I love that it has haste, so it does something immediately when it comes out. It better with the mana cost that it has. And I love that it has hexproof. It's fair. Like it's pretty fair. Like I know it costs 12 mana, but there's ways to like lower the cost. It could be a 3 mana 7/7 if you do it properly, or it can be a if you casted 4 spells before it. It can be a 2-costed 7/7 with haste, trample, and hexproof, which is freaking insane. But it's fair. It's a fair green card, and I do appreciate it a lot. I don't know how much it'll impact modern. Maybe JP can let me know. But what do you think?
I mean, I guess like if you're gonna use this at all, you're probably running a storm deck. So why?
Yeah.
Maybe someone's gonna brew it with all the green storm stuff we're getting, but
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's true.
I don't
That's the
think
only
it's gonna
thing.
be good.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
Well.
exactly. It's like a deck that would definitely be fun to brew, but not
Mhm.
something that's going to like impact any formats or
Yeah,
anything.
exactly. Fair enough. Okay. Well, let's get to the next one after your stupid Timmy card, Void Mirror. Which at first I loved it, and then I'm like, damn
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Go ahead.
Void Mirror comes down for 2 colorless. It's an artifact. Whenever a player casts a spell, if no colored mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell.
Yes.
This would have been way too broken if it was one-sided in which you weren't affected by it.
Mhm.
So I guess that in that sense it balances itself out.
Mhm.
My problem with this card is that I love it and I absolutely hate it. I love it because things that just tell your opponent you can't do, it's another one of the things I love so much.
Mhm.
But I don't like the fact that this is something you can use very early game and literally just outright kill like a whole deck. Like someone plays a Void Mirror and I'm playing Joyra, I literally have to scoop, like it's over. Like there's just nothing more for me to do here.
Well, if you played colored mana, it's fine.
Yeah, but then again, like at least for example in my Joyra deck, or maybe even if someone's playing like a colorless deck too, I don't have a lot of things in my Joyra that I could like. It just disables my Joyra basically. I can't cast any artifacts. I can only cast maybe like 2 artifacts that I have
blue,
in the deck.
You can play blue for a talisman, and you can still cast
Oh my
it.
bad. Wait. I thought it said colorless spells. No, it's no colored mana spent to cast it.
You read it exactly as I did.
Yeah, I
that's
did.
Why
yeah.
that's why I loved
Okay,
it
this
at
is no
first.
longer as good as I thought.
No, because see, this is the problem that I had.
No,
I'm gonna explain to you what happened. So when I read it, I was like, "Oh my god, this is great against Tron. This is great against Cascading.
yeah.
This is great against those type of decks." And especially with Bob, he has a the Eldrazi deck. The I forgot the name. Is
Kozilek the Great Distortion.
Yeah, he has a
Yeah.
stupid Kozilek deck, and I'm like, I told him, I'm gonna play the shit out of this. I'm gonna buy like the old border. I'm gonna buy like 5 copies because he has the Sliver deck, which is the Cascade deck, and I know that for that deck it's useful. But in the other one, I was thinking, I'm just gonna buy that shit. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna Urza tutor it every single game. And he's like, I'm just gonna use colored mana on my deck, and I'm like, crap, he can do that.
How?
He can.
He
He can.
He
No,
cheated.
you can have basics of any color. The thing is that because of your identity, they will still just produce colorless.
No, they can produce any color.
Exactly. But the purposes of what he needs, it doesn't really, So when he told me that, I'm like, okay, so since when he taps like a forest, exactly, it's just a minor inconvenience, but not really. It's still good for Cascade decks. Like primarily, that is where it's going to be. And in Modern, it does have utility against a very specific Tron deck, just one. Because I think it's the Eldrazi Tron deck, which is very good with the Void Mirror.
So it could actually be like a good sideboard.
I was just gonna like the only thing I had to add to this is fuck Tron.
Yeah, no, of course. But this one is not the Tron killer either. Like that every set there's always a Tron killer or whatever.
Then Tron never dies.
This is not the Tron killer either.
Tron never dies.
Because in normal Tron, you also play green.
Green.
Or you can find ways to produce green, and then you're safe. You have no problem. You can just go on your merry way as if nothing happened.
Yes.
So, yes, Christopher, I had the same problem. I thought it was way better than it reads, but when you read it for real, it's not that good.
Yes, reading the card explains
Your
the card,
next
and
card,
the
I know.
explanation is really bad.
I think you wrote this wrong, but it's okay.
I probably did. The name is kind of weird to get.
No. Man, I can't find it.
I'm looking for it.
Because it has like a weird V, like it's like SVY or something.
While you're looking for it, I'm gonna look for the next card on your list.
I think so.
Okay, this is your next card.
SVYELUN.
It's fine. Write it on the private chat. Go ahead with the next one.
You write it because even I couldn't spell it like at the first try.
Go ahead, Christopher.
Hold on. All right, so we got Calibrated Blast over here. It's an instant that comes down for 3 mana. It has a flashback cost of 5, which would be 3 and 2 red mana. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land card. Put the revealed card at the bottom of your library in any the revealed cards on the bottom of your library in any random order. When you reveal a non-land card this way, Calibrated Blast deals damage equal to that card's converted mana cost to any target.
Okay. What do you like about this card?
I I just enjoy like the possibility of burn. I mean, it's not an amazing card, but it does, for example, get some lands out of the way if you're feeling kind of mana screwed. So I think it does have a certain level of utility.
Okay.
It's a
Like,
bad card, in my opinion.
I don't think it's that bad though, honestly, because
If the card at least went to
in
your hand,
in mono
Yeah.
red, I have find like a bunch of
go
instances
to the
in which I like
graveyard.
just
But it
start.
just goes back to the deck.
Yes, but I still think it's
Oh look,
like
you
a
revealed the 1 mana
relatively
thing.
good card to
Oh,
cost at
I
instant
ping you
speed.
for one.
I know, yes, but listen, my dude, what I'm saying is that getting freaking like mana flooded in red is very easy, and this kind of eliminates part of the problem, like depending on your situation, I suppose.
Fair enough.
It's a good card that I would personally have maybe like 1 or 2 copies in a mono red deck just
Okay.
to have that, backup just in case something stops.
Yeah.
And it's also, the fact that it's an instant card, it just kind of helps with like other mechanics to like, either prowess or something like Storm is casting anything, but you get the point.
I mean, I am thankful that it's an instant because it's kind of horrible too. So I appreciate
See?
I
It's a
appreciate
better-
I appreciate it's an instant at the very least. I appreciate that it has flashbacks. So I guess it's a surprise thing that the opponent might forgot your horrible card. We're like deep into like a 2-hour commander game, and then Christopher is like, "I'm gonna flashback calibrated blast because you are like 2 life," and I'm like, "What the hell? What are you doing? What's a calibrated blast? Like, give me a second, guy. I'm just gonna beat your face right now." And then he like flings like a stupid goblin that costs 2 in my face. So yeah,
Yes.
it is possible that you can just kill someone outright in commander. Obviously, it has no usage in modern at all. It could be it's cute in command. It's cute.
So Chris, did you just choose the dud rares on purpose?
No, there's a couple.
No, I
chose
just
a good
personally
ones.
do think that Calibrated Blast, it's not an amazing card, but it's
There's
actually
just Timeless
useful. I just
Dragon,
find it-
Calibrated Blast.
Okay, the
There's
Timeless
Urza.
Dragon is I literally stated it's because like I just like the art.
And
That's
there's
it.
Ignoble Hierarch, but we already mentioned Ignoble. That's why I skipped it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, let's get to
You guys mentioned my good
Civilian.
picks, so I'm just
Violin.
like,
I did not find it. So
Really?
I guess
That's
wow,
literally her
that's
name.
insane.
then maybe it's not there. I'm
I
gonna
don't know.
keep going.
Just try to like look it up in
It's the
Google. I guess.
God of Sea.
Yes,
Right,
I
Kelsey,
do.
I
I
guess
do
it-
not have. Hold on,
I'm not
'cause
sure,
I know I
or-
pulled up a picture in the
If
other
you
tab.
find the link, maybe I can work with the link, but I'll work with the link at the
I
end.
can try that in a
Guess
second.
that what? Piru tampoco.
Hey,
What is going on?
I can read you Svailun, the god of the sea.
There
and
you go,
sky.
Piru
Yeah,
the
I have her over
volatile.
here. It's Svailun. I don't know. I'm not gonna.
Svailun, yeah.
Svailun.
I can get it at
of
the end.
sea and
I can get it at the
sky.
end. I can
All
get it
right,
at the
all
end.
right,
Don't worry.
sure thing.
Go ahead.
All right, so Piru the Volatile. I just like him because of the name. He's
Yeah.
a legendary creature, Elder Dragon. He has flying, lifelink. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Piru the Volatile unless you pay Mardu colors, which is red, white, black. When he dies, it deals 7 damage to each non-legendary creature. This dude is super Timmy. He's a 7/7, and he comes down for 2 colorless, 2 red, 2 white, and 2 black.
Yep.
Now, the reason why I like this is because it fits great into a Kalia deck as like, a board wipe that you can kind of have on hand once he dies. It's annoying because if you block it, like your opponent still has a flying lifelink 7/7 on the battlefield, which is always a threat. If you destroy it, you might clean your own board in the process. So it's difficult to deal with unless you have like exile effects. And if you are as like a Kalia player, if you are in a really bad spot, I guess you could like try to pay his maintenance costs. And it's still kind of worth maintaining because of the bunch of effects that he has.
Yeah. I appreciate a lot that it harkens back to the original Elder Dragons. The reason we
Yes.
have Commander is because of cards like this, cards like Nicol Bolas, and a bunch of other ones that I don't know. I think we have like 6 of them already.
Yeah, this is the-
We have a
Because
lot.
it's 5 plus this one.
Exactly.
You
So
mean
it's
like
really
the new
cool.
Elder Dragons? Because I know there's like the
no,
old Elder
pro-
Dragons and
proper,
there was like
proper Elder Dragons, you know.
Proper Elder
2
Dragons.
colorless, 2 of one color, 2 of
Yes.
another color, 2 of another color.
Yeah. I'm talking about those. But this one has an upside because if, like you said, if you decide not to pay the upkeep cost, it at least does something when it leaves. A lot of them you kind of like lose out if you don't pay the cost. So
and there's like also like a lot of cards that work the same way tend to be like, oh well, you deal 3 damage to the board. 3 damage is great. It takes out a lot of threats, but sometimes you just need a little bit more like burn or something to be able to get rid of everything on the board. And 7, I think is just a really good like place to
I agree.
like have that at, because it's not like too low to not kill most things. It's not
Mhm.
like insanely high for it to kill a freaking Emrakul.
The only thing I can add is Captain Sisay decks or Sisay the Weatherlight Captain decks that usually look for legendary permanents and are based around legendary permanents can run this and not suffer any consequences. So maybe it's like that's another good place for this. But other than that, it's okay.
It's a cool Elder Dragon, like a proper
Yes.
Elder Dragon, and I
Yes.
appreciate that because of nostalgia and lore aspects.
Mhm.
The next card on our list, this one's a spicy one. Yeah.
Sanctifier of Envik, a human cleric that comes down for 2 white mana, protection from black and from red. When Sanctifier of Envik enters the battlefield, exile all cards that are black and red from all graveyards. If a black or red permanent spell or card not on the battlefield would be put into the graveyard, exile it instead, and it is a 2/2.
Oh, remember that the Hollow One deck?
Yes,
Yeah, this would
this would
absolutely
destroy the
destroy
Hollow
that
One
deck.
deck.
This would destroy it.
Jund decks just annihilates them.
Yeah.
Mhm. So
It's a
any possibility that Jund had of coming back, it's like, yeah, I mean, we have Sanctifier of Envik in humans, so bye.
yeah, no, but this is a sideboard card.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree.
This is 100% a sideboard card. Other than that, yeah, it's good at what it does,
Mhm.
Very
as
cool.
The fact
most
that it has
sideboard cards are.
protection from those 2 colors, it just works out perfectly for it as well.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a very powerful card. I'm not gonna add anything because it's gonna be used in sideboards in modern.
Yeah.
Like that's
It's
obviously
it's
gonna be a
just
thing.
so good. There's just not much to say about it.
Yeah. It like you read the card, you understand perfectly why it's a very competitive card.
Mhm.
And finally, the last card on your list. Oh, this one is a spicy one. I do appreciate you
Yes,
put this one.
It's cute.
Okay.
I enjoy it. Abiding
Yeah.
Grace. It's an enchantment that comes down for 3 mana. That would be 2 colorless and 1 white. At the beginning of your end step, you choose 1. You either gain 1 life or you return target creature card with mana value 1 from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Okay.
The fact that you can choose between recursion and gaining 1 life is great.
One life is
especially
negligible.
I know, but sometimes those effects that just gain you the 1 life, at least for the kind of life link or life gain decks that I personally like running, to me are really important, because you'll run stuff like Ajani's Pridemate, which will like get 1/1 counters like for each instance of you gaining life. So if you have like Biting Grace, you just have security that you're going to get growth whenever you need it, and whenever you don't need your Ajani's Pridemate to be huge, you can just choose to return something with mana value 1 from your graveyard to the battlefield, which is great, especially since there's the like the clerics that come down for 1 mana.
Yeah.
The ones that like gain you life every time a creature enters the battlefield, and there's also that cleric from, I can't remember if it was Theros or no, it's from M21, I think. That when you have basically 7 mana over, or 27, it's either 27 life or 7 mana over your starting life total, you can just tap it to make a 4/4 angel.
Yeah. That was on a recent set. Yeah.
Yes, that was an M21, I think so. I
Yeah.
think.
What I want to add to this card is there's a deck called, there was, I'm not sure if it's still a thing. It's probably still a thing, but because it was already a fringe tier 2 deck, but it's called Martyr Proc. What you do is that deck ran Proclamation Rebirth or something like that. I don't remember the card. What the card did was reanimate cost 1, and you had the Martyr of the Sands. Martyr of the Sands red. It's a 1 mana 1/1. You pay 1, you sacrifice it, and you reveal any number of white cards, and you gain 3 life for each card revealed. So people would just pay 1, so I pay that, then turn like. Then like people would pay the Sarah Angel. Sarah Angel is no Sarah. What's the angel that gets +5/+5 and has flying?
Oh,
The cleric
Sarah
thing.
Ascendant.
Sarah Ascendant. So you play Sarah Ascendant turn 1. Turn 2, you just play Martyr. The Martyr
That's
sacrifice
Martyr of the
Martyr.
Sands, right?
Martyr of the Sands. Yeah. Reveal your hand, which would be just basically
bunch of white cards.
a bunch of white cards. You would gain easily 12 to 30. It's like 12 to 15 life, and you have a Sarah Ascendant who would be a 6/6, and then you swing in for 6/6 flying lifelink
Yeah.
and gain 6 life. and
On
be
top of the
effectively
life.
at 30, almost 40 life on
Yeah.
turn 2. So that
Exactly.
deck was very, very good. And this, like, if you play this on turn 3, you never have to play another creature that game, because you can just loop a Martyr of the Sands, and or bring back the Sarah Ascendant when it eventually gets removed, because it probably will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to kill that thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, it would be an auto include in any White Weenie strategy, and obviously the deck that you're mentioning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be very good in modern. Like you said, like a French tier 2.5 deck or whatever. I don't know if in Commander it'll do anything. It seems like
I think
you
it'll do
don't.
things in Commander, but not anything like
It's in
No,
the
it won't be
wrong.
everything.
It's in the wrong color for it to do something in Commander.
True, I agree.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It seems to be a
There's
theme as of late.
the mono black. There's a mono black commander that cares about
Right, the
CMC
Apostle thing,
one.
right?
Yeah,
Not the Apostle one.
no, it's a one from Kamigawa.
Hmm.
But
I
he
don't know.
cares about it. Like
I don't remember.
I can just look for him right now. I know how much he costs, but I don't know how his exact stats.
This is the final card in Christopher's list.
Yes. Still not gonna say Sivaloon.
Sivaloon, I guess.
Sivaloon. Yeah, let's color that. Sivaloon. God of Sea and Sky. This is a merfolk god, legendary creature. Comes down for 1 colorless and 2 blue.
Yeah.
It says if you control 2 other merfolks, Sivaloon, God of Sea and Sky, has indestructible. When she attacks, or he attacks, sorry about that. When he attacks, you draw a card. Other
Mhm.
merfolk you control have ward 1. I just enjoy seeing like having another set that has the ward keyword in it. So
Mhm.
that's fantastic. And now we had already confirmed that was going to be the evergreen mechanic, but it's nice to see it like so
Already
quickly,
being
I
used.
suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. To see it being used so quickly. And merfolk.
No.
Merfolk are
The
just
best part,
great.
it's a 3/4.
Actually, yeah,
3
I didn't
mana,
talk about
3/4
that.
is
It's a
very
3 mana
strong.
3/4.
Exactly. I
3
feel
mana
like
3/4,
this.
and it is a merfolk,
Yes.
and it's just great. Like as if merfolk needed like more good stuff like this, and it
It
just
did.
gives more.
It
I did
did.
actually.
It does. Yeah.
Well,
It
wait, but
should get
merfolk in
more.
like modern or merfolk in
Modern.
In modern.
commander?
Modern.
Yeah, because I was kind of thinking about it in commander.
Oh,
Merfolk I
no.
know that lacks support in modern.
It's okay in Commander.
It'll be
like
part of the 99. It's not gonna be
Kumena.
your.
Yeah.
Kumena
Oh yeah,
is just
definitely.
too strong
Exactly.
for it to be relevant, as relevant in Commander. Kumena is just really, really strong for
Yeah.
Merfolk.
Yeah.
In terms of modern, this plus the dock hand
Mhm.
might make it more competitive. It's always been a tier 2 deck, like very, very borderline tier 1 always, because it can just sneak wins out of nowhere, and it has won tournaments out of nowhere because just nobody's prepared for it. But you don't really need to prepare that much. It's just okay, you're playing Merfolks, and you just shift the play style.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be super competitive. I'm gonna change to Scryfall for a second to get to the final card. I know it's one-eyed, so I'm just gonna get the one-eyed card.
Garth.
Oh, Garth. Let's just put Garth. The Merfolk card is amazing. It will see use in
There you go.
modern for sure. Let's get to this final one. I want to read it. Okay, so because it's so bizarre but amazing. Garth One-Eyed reads, it's a legendary creature, a 5/5. He is Warborg. He's a human wizard. You tap it. You choose a card name that hasn't been chosen among Disenchant, Brain Geyser, Terror, Shivan Dragon, Regrowth, or Black fucking Lotus. I'm pretty sure it has fucking around between Black and Lotus. Create a copy of the card with the chosen name. You may cast the copy. JP, please tell me how nutty this final card, because it'll be the final card, because it's amazing. It kind of exemplifies everything we love about Magic and everything we love about Commander, all in one stupid card.
So what you do is you have 1,000-Year Elixir in play, because 1,000-Year Elixir lets you tap it as soon as it comes into play.
Yes.
Then you have Deadeye Navigator.
Yes.
and then you play this.
Yes.
When you tap him, you make a Black Lotus. You sacrifice the Black Lotus for blue, then you can blink Darth and do it again,
Yes.
and do it again,
Do it again.
and do it again.
Get
And
it, get it.
eventually, when
It's,
you
it's
have
Darth
infinite,
one-eyed with the one-eyed navigator. It's great. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Exactly.
then
They
yeah.
complement each other perfectly.
Yeah.
Right?
So you
Tiene
have
todo lo
infinite.
que le falta.
So after you have infinite blue mana,
Yep.
you don't need more mana because blue mana apparently is the end all be all. Because
Yeah.
of course, and then you just brain geyser everyone to death,
Yep. Exactly. It's
and
it's
you
just
win.
beautiful. It's just beautiful. Like you can pick up a bunch of other alpha cards because the whole point is that it harkens both to I think the novels from Magic the Gathering.
Yes.
And it also harkens to
I
alpha
think
cards.
This is one of the first proper important characters in all of Magic.
Exactly. So then it also harkens back to alpha cards. This Enchant, Brain Geyser, Terror, Shivan Dragon, Regrowth, and Black Lotus were all alpha cards, one of each
Yes.
color, and then obviously the artifact one. It's just such a wacky mechanic. The idea of choosing a name of a card you don't have, and then you cast a copy.
A card that isn't legal in a format.
Yeah. It's just it boggles my mind. Sure, we think of Black Lotus, but even not thinking about Black Lotus. Let's ignore the fact that it has Black Lotus.
Regrowth, Disenchant, Terror are really good. Brain Geyser if you're empty
Exactly.
on cards. Shivan
Exactly.
Dragon if you need a blocker. Shivan
Yeah.
Dragon is probably the least important one.
But it's so
mostly because
iconic.
It's
so
no,
iconic.
but it's mostly because in current standards of Magic,
Oh, sure.
6 mana
Sure.
for essentially fire breathing dragon is
No, I agree.
is not.
This is more because of obviously the nostalgia aspect.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
they could have put like a lightning bolt, or they could have put like a fireball. Which is also very iconic.
I can just imagine someone filling their deck with old border cards, having all original duels.
Yeah. And just playing this. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be the most expensive deck. I'm pretty sure that EDH Rec, when they finalize all the listings, I'm pretty sure some crazy lunatic is gonna have like the most expensive deck list. It's gonna be like almost like $200,000 or something kind of insane. And it's just gonna have all like alpha cards. All just original alpha cards. Yeah.
There's two more cards I want to talk about real quick.
Okay. Christopher, I'm sorry. Do you want to mention anything about this wacky card? Because honestly,
not about this wacky card, because I think it just speaks for itself at this point.
Yeah.
But I do want to mention that I love that Wizard just keeping the meme alive.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, JP,
With
give me the
Phantasmal
two
Dreadnought.
final cards. Two more. That's it.
Okay. Number one is literally just to mention is Brea's Apprentice. I like that they mentioned Brea because I've had an inkling that we might be coming back to Shards of Alara.
Okay.
It'd be interesting, and this is a little nudge because she is an Esper with red, and this is a red creature. I'm just very inkling that maybe we might be coming back to Alara. It'd be interesting. It'd be nice.
I mean, we're definitely going back to Phyrexia. I don't know if like anything from Alara, or like maybe Phyrexians try to invade Alara or something. That'd
I'm
be
not
kind
sure.
of fun to watch.
Yeah.
But that would be interesting. And the second card and most important card in this entire set, ignore everything I've ever said, ignore Lonis and everything, is my beauty. Cabal Coffers is getting reprinted.
Yes. Thank the Lord. Thank the heavens. Cabal Coffers is getting reprinted. Look at that. It's already at $67. So at least it's doing something. Now the other one is expensive though. But let's look at the pretty one.
I'm just happy.
So pretty.
I have several copies of this card already. I want more.
Yeah.
There's never going to be enough. Just like Orengo has this little box full of blue cards, it's just blue staples. I want that same thing, but with black cards and black staples, and just here's my five Cabal Coffers that I'm not using because the other 5 are being used in decks.
Yes, if you guys didn't know, I have a little like long box, and I have like a section, like a gigantic section filled with a bunch of blue staples. I have like 4 Snapcaster Mages, like crazy stuff like that. I don't have like 1,000 mana drains or whatever, but I have like a bunch of like actual staples, and I put them in that little section. So when I obviously end up building a blue deck or something that includes blue, I get to shuffle and be like, okay, what blue staple I'm missing? Okay, cool. And then I just stick it in. I have like 1,000 counter spells and such. But yeah, I am happy, like you said. I am happy they're reprinting Cabal Coffers. we're already seeing the decrease in price, which is great for us, poor people.
Also very, very, very good that Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth got reprinted in the
Double Masters, right?
Time Spiral Remastered.
Right, exactly. So we have it for relatively cheap. So
Yes.
if you want to get your Cabal Coffer, I would argue that you should get Urborg as well.
Urborg
Now that
first.
it's Urborg
Get
first. Now that
Urborg
it's kind of
first.
cheap. Yeah, now that it's kind of cheap. Well, relatively cheap, for your budget. But if you want to get the Cabal Coffers, I think this is finally your chance. It does suck. I understand, but it does suck that it's a mythic. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And this was a conscious decision in pricing.
It went from uncommon to mythic. It's pretty egregious in my opinion.
It is. It should have been a rare. I know,
but it's the same. It's the same thought process of Force of Will. Force of Will used to be a common, and it just went from common to Judge promo rare. But when they actually printed it for the first time, it was just went directly from uncommon to mythic.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's egregious though when they do it because it's when they're being conscious of the secondary market.
Yeah,
they always say they're never conscious, but this is literally one example of it. It should have been a rare. I feel like rare would have been completely fair, and it still would have been like a good $50 anyway. So
definitely,
it would have been a very expensive rare anyways. But it's a mythic. I appreciate that for now it says 67. It'll probably drop even further because if it's 67 now,
I see it going as low as $20.
Do you think it'll go that low?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll hold you to that. We'll remember that.
I feel like it'll go down to $20 at its lowest, and then creep back up.
I hope it goes as low as 20 because there's so many card guys. I don't know.
I'm gonna buy like 30.
Dude, no, it's not even that I'm gonna buy 30. The thing is there's a lot of singles that I want so badly. Reprints and like new stuff in this set, and this is the first week. There's a lot of stuff that I genuinely want to the point where I was thinking of getting a box, but obviously seeing the prices, the idea of a box seems kind of like already not gonna happen. But because I feel like if I buy the singles, I'm gonna be ending up buying the equivalent of a box because of so many cards that I actually want from this set. Because this set is really packed with a lot of.
Then you get Timeless Dragons. Then you get.
That's the thing. That's why the box idea I kind of quickly dismissed it. I'm like, I'm just gonna really focus because there's a lot of uncommons.
You get Calibrated Blast.
Yeah, there's a lot of uncommons and commons that are really good in this set. So that's why I was considering the box. And especially if you buy the set booster, I believe the set booster gives one of the slots is always going to be an old border card, if I'm not mistaken.
Or you could get very lucky with Urza.
That's what I'm saying. No, because the Urza, and this is something you guys don't know, all the MH cards, all the Modern Horizon 1 cards that are getting the old border treatment, they will only be available in the collector booster.
Oh, okay. Even more egregious.
That is why I'm saying.
Sure, of course.
That's why I'm saying the Force of Negation that I wanted to get. I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna be able to get it. And the Urza, I'm gonna bite the bullet because it's Urza. It's gonna hurt because I really want that Urza. So I'm pretty sure that no matter the price, unless it's something egregious like $300, but if it's not something egregious like $300, I will get that Urza because I really want it. I mean, you guys know that my fantasy was literally seeing it in Old Border to the point where I got a proxy of Urza in Old Border because I really love the idea and the aesthetic of it. So I will get that Urza. But it is frustrating that a lot of these MH1 cards that could have been in that Old Border slot that I'm talking about in the set booster, because Wizards is greedy AF, they just set it only in the collector boosters. It's frustrating. Because it could have been a great opportunity to reprint a lot of these staples that they know are staples in Modern. They could have reprinted it at a cheaper cost with a different border and, flood the market with much needed reprints because it has the Daughter of Runes, it has the Force of Negation, has a whole bunch of really great MH1 cards. But they're all relegated to the collector booster. So I feel like that's a problem because this was a great opportunity for reprints without having to put much effort because they don't have to make an extra set or they don't have to do some supplementary whatever to reprint these really good staples. But, anything finally that you want to add, guys?
I think we covered most of it.
We covered?
Most of it.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's do the final goodbyes. Christopher, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me at Twitch at ChrisCross13, and you can find me here on the Cardboard Cave podcast.
Awesome. JP, where can the people find you?
You can find me here in the Cardboard Cave podcast. Hopefully, we'll start making a lot more content and get ready for this next week. This is going to be a lot more stuff. I'm just excited for this next week.
Yeah, this set is very promising. It's very good. It has a whole lot of high value cards, and yeah, I'm excited as well. You can find me at the Movie Guy Podcast, where we do movie news and movie reviews. You can also find me at Cinemas Podcast, which is a podcast I do under the Movie Guy Podcast, and I have a Facebook page as well. If you guys are interested in, giving it a like, it's for fans and whatever. And I'll be simulcasting the podcast both in the Movie Guy and in that page. Beyond that, you can also find me here with all you guys having fun talking about magic cards in Cardboard Cave. And finally, you can find me at Cine Nerds in the Facebook page 15 and Richport, where we discuss sometimes artsy films, sometimes blockbusters. Tomorrow we'll be discussing a Korean film, which I do not remember the name, but we'll also be discussing the recently released Krello movie, which I haven't seen, but I guess I'll check it out tomorrow, so I'll be ready for the podcast then. But yeah, I hope all of you had a great night. I hope you enjoyed watching all these spoilers with us, and let's get ready for next week because it's gonna be fun. So everyone, goodbye. Have a good one. Have a good night.
Hey geeks, do you love comics, collectibles, and TCG? Well, here at Cardboard Cave, we have the place for you. Pass by Kapitan Granuja Comics and Games and find all your favorite geeky items there. Look for them at Facebook or Instagram or call them at 787-659-7003. A store blessed by Nicole Bolas.